problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Terms and conditions apply.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with a sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
I participate in U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Everybody's got a podcast these days. Comedy, politics, true crime, you name it. But how many actually teach you anything useful? Harman Solar has an entertaining podcast that is vital if you've been thinking about looking into solar, but you don't know where to start. Ralph and Ben explore the intricacies of utilities, equipment, processes, and more. Their primary objective is to educate and empower you to make informed decisions on your solar journey. So increase your knowledge, not your bills. Go check it out right now. It's the Harman Solar Podcast at harmansolar.com.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
The GCU men's basketball squad is coming off their winningest season in 35 years, their third trip to the NCAA tournament in 4 years, and their first ever NCAA tournament victory. Returning 4 of their 5 starters in Ray Harrison, Colin Moore, Duke Brennan, and reigning WAC Player of the Year Tyon Grant Foster, the Lopes look to defend their WAC titles and make a run to the Sweet 16. With a non-conference slate including Stanford, Georgia, and crosstown rival Arizona State, you won't want to miss a moment of the action. So join me, Michael Potter, and Lopes insider Paul Coro all season long right here on the home of the Lopes, 1580 The Fanatic. Lopes up.
Multivitamins are your partners in health. Their nutrients are key to your daily well-being, especially if you're planning to become pregnant. A multivitamin rich in folic acid can help you have a healthier pregnancy and prevent birth defects. That's why the Arizona Department of Health Services is offering a free 3-month supply of daily vitamins with folic acid. To get your free vitamins, go to azdhs.gov/PowerMe-A2Z.
Sponsored by the Arizona Department of Health Services.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM.
All right, people, settle down.
Because it's time
for what?
Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show. Let's do it.
All right, everybody, it's Monday here on the Daily Blender. I'm your good friend, your radio pal, Jeffrey O'Brien, not alongside Randy White. He'll be back tomorrow. We got Keon Rose in the control room, and you guys are on the Fanatic text line, 888-368-1580, as we broadcast live in the Harman Solar Studios in Scottsdale. We're going to talk about all the games here in a minute, but Keon, my wife, wanted me to tell you, congratulations.
Thank you.
She specifically was like, you got to tell him I said that. I'm like, okay. I just figure he's already had everyone tell him that. She's like, no, you need to tell him I said that. I'm like, all right.
You know, the specific ones they matter. They do matter.
Yeah. So she specifically said that, but we're going to get there in a second. Today is 2 things. One, it's 3 things. Actually, 3 things that today is. One, today is the day that Mark Zuckerberg is going to have a lot of explaining to do when he gets home to his wife. 2, today is also Martin Luther King Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And this blew my mind. Did you know this? I mean, you're from the South, so maybe you know this, but it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But in Alabama and Mississippi, it's also Robert E. Lee Day.
Yeah.
What the hell?
What do you mean?
That?
You mean the states that just have Confederate monuments everywhere just also celebrate Robert E. Lee? Imagine my shock.
It's still surprising to me that this continues in this day and age. You know, Dr. King was a civil rights leader who fought for equality and justice for all people. And then there's the other guy that kind of sort of was working for preserving slavery and upholding the whole institution of white supremacy and the Confederacy. So, you know, I guess we could pick a day. I don't know.
No, that was on purpose. That's not an accident. And the people who are the lawmakers there now that know that those 2 days coincide and could change it have not changed it, and that is also not an accident.
Yeah. So, it just makes me sad.
In Georgia on a street called Battlefield Parkway, and gotta tell you, nothing reminds you that you are in Confederate country quite like that road. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well. But anyways, back to it being Martin Luther King Jr. Day everywhere else, even though begrudgingly everywhere else took some time. It was not very quick to happen. But what are you going to do? Also today, less importantly, is National DJ Day. Have you ever been a DJ? I don't think you have. I think you've only been a talk show host. I think you've only been on sports talk radio, right?
Yeah, I've never been a DJ. No.
I have been a DJ. Randy has been a DJ. We were music DJs. We were music morning show. And, we're not proud of it.
No.
Because anytime you say national, like you say a DJ, you're thinking, quack, quack. All right, it's 5 o'clock in the morning here, everybody. We never talked like that. We were not pukers.
Yeah, thankfully. Yeah.
We worked with pukers. We did.
Yeah.
And that's who's the guy who does the games? I always forget his name. But he's just like, and Tom Broadbent stops back. Blah, 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 blah. I think it's on CBS. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it is, though.
Yeah, I don't care for him. Because I hear that, and I'm like, tone it down there, Chief. Come on, man. But yes, the actual first DJ ever was in 1909, and his name was Ray Newby. He was a 16-year-old college student, played records from a small little transmitter, long before they even had a term disc jockey for that. The disc jockey term came about in 1935. Walter Winchell coined that, talking about guys on radio, who were playing music, because the reason that mattered was, you have to remember, when radio first started, the people would come into the studio and all the music you heard was played live. If you see the studio designs for back then, they had these giant studios with a piano and a harp and the horn section, the whole thing. So everything you would hear nothing was recorded. And then somebody's like, hey, if we recorded this, we wouldn't have to keep bringing in 83 people to do this every time. And so that's when they started putting stuff on records. I mean, they were always putting stuff on records. I'm just saying, playing them on radio stations and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My aunt was a DJ on a Christian radio station back when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah? What year was that?
99.
That's shut up. Just shut up. Back when I was a kid.
I was 9
when I was 29. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to remind you
of my impending doom
of mortality.
Yeah.
And the steady, relentless forward march of time. I wasn't trying to do that intentionally. It's just
it ain't messing around. It's just not. So, anywho, real quick before we jump in, we're going to talk about all the football that happened over the weekend, even though it was only 4 games. But I will give you at least this update: the Suns are getting their asses kicked, and hard. The Cavaliers are up 80-62. Over the Suns, and it's been worse. They were up by like 22 points a minute ago. So it's in the third quarter. Not looking great for the Suns, but Berg says Bills Mafia. Oh, really? When did you join? I thought you were.
Aren't you a Patriots?
Yeah, I thought you were in the Patriots cult. What happened there? Big George says, happy Monday. Hey, wow, what a weekend for football. Yeah, calm down, George. I told you we'd get to it. Before we do, and I'll read the rest of your text here in a minute. Let's go ahead and take a look at our picks contest. The Harmon Solar fan pick'em contest. Vike Sholo still hanging in there at 205 in first place, but his lead has been reduced to 1. He was up by 2, but he did not pick well this weekend. He got 2 out of the 4 right, and that has allowed Tony Baloney and Pro Dog to catch up. So really, those guys are still in it. Brett Maverick still in it with 203. Alani Champs at 202 with an outside shot, but everybody else doesn't matter. I moved up to 9th place, but I am 5 back, and there's only 3 games left. So
mathematically eliminated.
Right. So Alani Champs, if they get their 3 right, and then Vike Sholo gets 3 wrong, they can tie. Then there's some tiebreaker that would happen. But outside of that, everyone else below, you're just trying to have a good place. You're just trying to have a good showing. So, but I feel good about passing random texter after he sent me a text, give me a hard time about being ahead of me. So suck it.
Maybe spoke a little too soon on that one.
Yeah. Hey, Raven Kid, let your dad know. Let your dad know. So for us, I got 3 right, which brought me up to 200. You got 2 right, brought you up to 186. And now you're 3 behind Ralph. Ralph got 3 right and has 189. But I know one thing. You don't care about that.
No, not at all.
You don't mind being wrong about that.
That fantasy football, none of it. No, that's just all. Everything is kind of pales in comparison to where I'm at right now. So,
did you mean it when you said it was the best day of your life?
Yeah. I've never.
Did your girlfriend give you a sideways glance? Like, what about when you met me?
No, because she knows. Because she watches these games with me. She's seen the highs and the lows of it, and like it actually she was concerned because usually I'm watching, and especially in years past, I'm making a lot of noise. I'm mostly angry.
You're just sitting there all quiet, like
stunned silence.
And...
I didn't say anything. She thought I'd be happier. I'd be jumping up and down. I still don't believe it. Like I still don't believe it. It's they like 30 years and they've never looked this good.
Well, you didn't realize they looked this good until you were actually watching this game. And then you started looking back going, well, wait, this is exactly what they did in the last game. This is what they've done all season. And you're like, wait a minute. So, okay. So yeah, well, okay. But first we're going to go in order of the game. So we're going to talk about your Washington Commandos here in a minute. Oh, wait, before we go on, I got to tell you, guess what I did? I listened to Kendrick Lamar.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
Nice.
I can't sing many of the lyrics. Like if I'm in my car,
just leave that alone.
Nope. Just not even with the windows up.
Just let it go, man.
That's not lyrics for me. And so I'll just enjoy. But it's quirky. It's weird. I kind of like it. The way his delivery is and the way but then he brings it. You start to think, well, he's going in the direction of some nonsense, but then he brings it around in a musical sense. It's solid. It's well thought out. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like live jazz. It's like, no, there is a plan when he writes, and you can tell this is all a lot of really clever writing. And so yeah, and you're right. There's like very variety of kinds of music that he uses around his lyrics and stuff. So I did enjoy it. I did have to turn it down.
I figured that'd be the case, but yeah.
But no, it was good stuff. And then what I did is I went through his catalog there and I went back and I started seeing he's got like 1 billion streams on Spotify for Not Like Us.
Yeah,
1 billion.
That was the jam of the summer, man.
Jeez. So then when I did, so I would know what the real hits are, I would watch the stream count and I'd sample like the highest numbered ones. So I think that was a good way to sort of figure out where the good stuff was. But it was all good stuff. I'm like, okay, I can see this. I can see how this is going to be a good halftime show.
Yeah, I'm glad you got the preview in, and I'm glad you liked it because he's one of my favorite artists, man.
Yeah, I can, and it's like, who do you compare him to? Who, you know what I mean? He had like moments where you're like, it seemed like Eminem was influencing, and then but just because of the, and he has kind of a higher, like a nasally little sort of voice sometimes. And I think that's on purpose, in the way he delivers some of his lines.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, he does all these sorts of different things with his voice so that he can be different characters over the course of a story of a song or an album. So yeah, no, he's got that, and obviously, he's got that connection to Dr. Dre. So there's a little bit of that sound in what he's done, and then the poetry has got some connections to Tupac, who's a hero of his. So you can kind of hear that in there too. Yeah, it's a lot, man.
A lot of influences there. But listen, on his own, he's an original, and I did enjoy it. By the way, when Kendrick Lamar does the halftime show for the Super Bowl, probably not going to hear Not Like Us. Well,
that makes sense for so many reasons.
Yeah, Drake is already suing his own label over stuff. So now sources are saying that the NFL's asked him not to play Not Like Us, which does nothing but call Drake a pedophile. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And he says, I guess there's speculation it was Drake himself who put pressure on the NFL with a little help from Jay-Z, who produces the halftime show. So last week, like I told you, Drake sued Universal Music, and the label, both, he and Kendrick are both on. I don't know. Maybe just have a meeting. I don't know if you need to sue your own label, but whatever. But he says, yeah, it's not right for me to promote this. It puts my life in danger because it suggests I'm a pedophile. If you're a pedophile, good. If you're a pedophile,
it's funny, all the lawsuits going around. Why don't you just sue for slander?
Yeah, that would be the way to go.
if it's not true, just
that there's a lot of money to be made there,
and it would end everything because then you'd have to. Well, the thing is, you'd have to go through discovery, and then
about that.
Ooh.
Probably don't want that if you.
Wait, what if they find something?
Anyway, so I just want to let you know I did listen to it, and like I said, we'll not be doing that in karaoke, but it was fun.
Fair.
It was fun to listen to. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's get right to it. In the NFL, Saturday divisional playoff games in action, and by the way, the audience was down again. The ratings were they were up on Saturday, but they went down on Sunday. They were up 1.5% or so on Saturday, but they were down almost 10% on Sunday. Which I was like, whoa, that's surprising. That was I don't understand what's going on there.
Those were fun games.
Because if you had 40 million a year ago, what happened? I mean, so last year they had 40.4 million, and I'm sorry, this year they had 40.4 million. It's 50.3 million a year ago. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's still 10% plus drop. I don't get it. But if you combine everything for the weekend, it went down like 3 million. It's about 4 million. So yeah, averaging everything out. But I was just really surprised. I thought Sunday would have been for sure the bigger day that people would watch. So anyway, doesn't matter to me. I don't run a TV network, and I don't sell or buy advertising for television. But it is something that's worth noting. Just what's going on here.
It's certainly odd to see.
Devil Hawk says NFL is slowly learning that if you go woke, you go broke. What a tired narrative, Devil Hawk. I don't think that has anything to do with it.
The ratings went up every year the last 3 years, and then finally dipped. What is the woke thing that happened in the last year that the NFL did that would cause this?
Yeah, what's the straw that broke the racist back there? That's the question.
Just silly. Come on, man. Just silly.
They've been putting those sayings on the helmets and on the field for at least 5 years. And so now this is the year where finally people are like, hey, wait a minute. You mean they're not racists? Well, I can't watch this. Silver Pop says, good afternoon, guys. Happy Monday and Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I have a question for Keon. Keon, as the Commanders fan and ambassador for the Daily Blender, I would like to ask, as a Cardinals fan, if I'm able to adopt the Commanders as my second team, using Ralph's logic. I did spend 2 hours at the airport there once waiting for a connecting flight. So technically that means I lived there. So I can claim them as a team, correct?
If you want to have a second team to root for, go for it. As long as
he says he's just kidding.
Okay, as long as they're not in your division, I don't actually care. When you start doing that illogical nonsense, now I have some problems.
He says, I was just joking. Yeah, congratulations. I enjoyed the game. That's all. Good luck to them.
Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen, says Big George. What a weekend. And he says, happy to see the Buffalo Bills beat the Ravens, and can't believe the Lions lost to the Commanders. What a great game. I'm going to be cheering like all get out this weekend for Commanders and Bills Super Bowl, a rematch of that Super Bowl back in 1992. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, let's get into this. Let's start talking. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they won it in the exact same way the Chiefs have won every game this year. Just oh, we better score. And they're like, Travis Kelce activated. Okay. I mean, it was the same Travis Kelce you've seen all year, except for that one big long run, So, like I said, you're going to see more of that over the next few weeks.
He's reached the stage in his career that all the great NFL tight ends get to. And I don't know who said this first. I saw this on Twitter somewhere, where he's outslowing everybody. He just is craftier than everyone.
Yeah.
So just they don't know.
He seems smarter, not harder.
Yeah. He seems to always know where to be. He sits down on routes, in unconventional places, and it's throwing defensive players off.
That's a good point. And he's still a beast. He's still a guy who can take you another 10 yards just on his back. So
yeah, if you're a corner and you find yourself in the vicinity of Travis Kelce, just because he's older now doesn't mean that he won't haul you 8 more yards upfield. Like that's just too bad for you. That's just not a matchup that you should ever have. And the Texans screwed around and did it twice.
Devil Hawk says, I don't know. I just wanted to say that thing about go woke, go broke, just to get a rise out of you guys.
Cool.
Way to go. Heavy Metal Maniac says, Keon, congratulations to you and your team. I hope you guys make it to the Super Bowl. I know they're a division rivalry with the Cowboys, but we suck. So, good luck.
Well, I appreciate that.
But they did do the good thing, and they fired a coach. Don't know who the heck they're going to get, but go Cowboys. Well, later on in the show, we'll talk about what the betting odds are, and suddenly it's a whole nother guy. It just seems like every time you turn around, that is changing, and I don't know why we care. I'm sorry, man. It's not against you, Heavy Metal Maniacs. Whoever it is just going to have a hand up their ass. An up to the elbow. It'll be up to the elbow, for Jerry Jones.
And all the top Cowboys coaching candidates have one thing in common. It's all Dallas connections, but we'll get there.
Yep. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's come back and talk more about the Chiefs taking down the Texans. It's the Daily Blender here on 1580, The Fanatic.
This is Brent Musburger's action update on 1580 and 99.3, The Fanatic. This update brought to you by Sport Trade. Download the Sport Trade app and use code VSIN to earn 10% cash back on every bet in your first week. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
The College Football National Championship game tonight in Atlanta. Notre Dame taking on Ohio State. A matchup of the top two scoring defenses in college football. Ohio State allowing 12 points a contest, best in the nation. Right behind them, Notre Dame giving up just 14 a game. Notre Dame is an 8.5-point underdog against the mighty Buckeyes, who went 13-2 this past season. Notre Dame 14-1. The Irish plus 300 on the money line. The Buckeyes are minus 400. And the over-under tonight at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 45.5. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Let's say you've got questions. You're looking into solar, but you don't know where to start. Well, Harmon Solar has the answers. Hi, I'm Jeffrey O'Brien, and listen, there's a couple of ways you can go here. One, visit harmonsolar.com, browse around, because right across the page, they got links to all sorts of great information, like frequently asked questions, equipment, tax credits, even testimonials. Or just give them a call, 800-281-3189. Ask them directly. They'd love to hear from you. That's 800-281-3189. Or just go to harmonsolar.com.
Catch all the action of NCAA men's basketball, starting with the game of the week. Got it! Oh, wow! Then conference and regional tournaments, NCAA tourney, March Madness, and the championship game live. Fires from three. Oh, he hit it! Don't miss a moment on 1580 and 99.3, The Fanatic, and always on at 1580thefanatic.com. Your home for March Madness.
Today's Blender here on 1580, The Fanatic. Silver Pops is Jeffrey. You think maybe the ratings are starting to slowly drop because the optics of the refs always bailing the Chiefs out? Maybe people are getting just tired of it and are slowly tuning out altogether, regardless of who's playing. I mean, it's kind of like WWE now, knowing the Chiefs are going to win. I know the refs don't influence the games, but come on, man. Those calls were very questionable. They were very questionable. They were horrific.
Insanely questionable. There's
Dear
no getting
God.
around it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And then they're still trying to justify those things. Listen, as dumb as Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are, they even noticed. So, I mean, that's how obvious it is. And it was obvious, bad officiating. And then you're like, wow. There one time, though, he didn't get away with it. Patrick Mahomes, he slowed up as he was going out of bounds just to try to get the guy to make contact with him. And then when he did, he's like, oh, and the ref is like, knock it off.
Yeah, he's realizing what the refs are letting him get away with to a degree, and he's looking for it, which I don't like, because it reminds me a lot in the NBA when you have guys like Joel Embiid or like James Harden who hunt calls like that. And it bothers me because like those guys are so talented, you don't actually have to do that to win. You don't. And Mahomes doesn't have to do it either, but he is starting to do it, and it's annoying to watch. Like if you're a fan of another team and you're seeing, you know, he's trying to draw that late hit on those defenders coming at him, and then he gets the call, the unnecessary roughness call, even though both Texans players hit each other. Like, stuff like that just feels bad to watch.
Yeah. And there's at least 3 different times, if not more, that I saw, bad calls in that game where, 2 guys hit each other, not even hitting Patrick Mahomes. They hit each other and got called. I was like,
what do you do?
What? Where did,
and part of it is like he could just get down, but he's like waiting for that last second. And you have to hit him. He's fast enough that if you try to walk up to him, he's going to get away. So that stuff is it's crap, if we're honest.
Yeah. So I guess according to Walt Anderson from the NFL, he's like he's an analyst on stuff, but I think he used to be. Walt Anderson used to be a ref, didn't he? Or is he a current guy? Who is Walt Anderson? I just saw a thing that says Walt Anderson says under current rules, the officials were correct to penalize the Texans on Saturday. Like, who the hell is this guy? But he was saying that they might look at this in the offseason.
He's a former official.
Oh, so he's just the guy sitting there going,
yeah,
here's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's taking the side of the NFL on this. Oh, because he's on the NFL Network.
Yeah.
Okay, now it all makes sense.
It's a TV channel owned by the NFL Media Group.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes slid late. And even then, they didn't make any contact with him. They says, no, the replay there shows the hairline of a Texans helmet struck Mahomes once he was already on the ground.
We didn't watch the same play.
See that? No.
We didn't watch the same play remotely.
I feel like you're making things up now.
The crown of one Texans player's helmet hit the side of the other Texans player's helmet. Mahomes was below both of them. He doesn't even get hit at all.
And even if it touched it, there was no reaction from it. His head didn't go or anything. It just was bad officiating. Anybody watched it, you saw it. Don't act like it didn't happen. But all right. We've known that for a while. People put up memes. Like I saw a meme of the Texans getting ready for the game, lining up against the refs. You know what I'm saying? Just everybody knows this is happening. Everybody knows that if you even look at Patrick Mahomes, you're going to get a flag. So it's a known thing, and it's a bit gross, and they need to fix that. But is that NFL influence? Because if it is, then
I don't know if it's NFL influenced. I can't prove that, so I'm not going to make that claim. But what I am going to say is, this is not a perception you want. Look at what that's done to the NBA and how long it's taken them to try and get back nearly enough trust of people to not believe that NBA games are rigged. That the Donaghy thing was big unto itself, but even without Donaghy, there was a feeling that if the Lakers and the Celtics could somehow meet in the finals, it was going to happen. The league was going to find a way to make that happen. And even players in the league think so. I don't think we're at that point with the NFL, but you don't want to get there.
Well, now you've got, many people looking at this. Silver Pops, he just brought it up. He's not the only one who thinks the fix is in for anybody. And then that's the thing. I just don't like to push anything in a direction that might agree with that clown ass who used to be on the Shouty show, Skip Bayless. He was saying, oh, no, the NFL is, doing this for Taylor Swift. They want to make sure that Chiefs are there and the Taylor Swift is there. When the Super Bowl happens, you got to make sure so the ratings go up.
The Chiefs are a dynasty. The dynasty, no matter how much people complain that they're tired of seeing the Chiefs, or how much people complain that they were tired of seeing the Patriots, or tired of seeing the Warriors in the NBA, people do watch dynasties. You're tired of seeing Alabama, but every time Alabama's in a national championship, gets high ratings. The NFL just likes the dynasty. I don't think any of this has anything to do with Taylor Swift. I think the dynasty makes money, man. And that's the Chiefs are the moneymaker right now.
Well, even Joe Mixon said you can never leave it in the ref's hands. And what he means by that is win the game. Yeah. Win the game, and what happens with the refs isn't as big a deal. But then again, when the refs continually are either non-calling or over-calling, and it does look like they're pushing a game in a certain direction, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at all the Texans press conferences, there was the theme of we knew it was us versus everybody, and they were saying that to avoid saying specifically that the refs were the everybody that they were against. But that's how they felt. CJ Stroud said you walked in the building, you knew you didn't have any allies but the people on that sideline, because the refs are supposed to be neutral, and they didn't feel like that was the case going into the game. Which is, again, not a perception that you want to have going around your sport. It's a stink that you can't get off once people finally agree that that's what this is.
So referee Clay Martin, he told to some reporter there, he's like, I saw forcible contact to the face mask area. No, you didn't. You really just didn't.
I'm sorry. Patrick Mahomes passed the line of scrimmage. He was a runner. No, once you're a runner, we don't get to protect you the same way anymore. Because at that point, what are we actually doing? I don't even know anymore what we're actually doing. I've seen other quarterbacks just get obliterated and no flags ever thrown because they're a runner. And it made sense to me. I understand if you want to protect the guy in the pocket because his eyes are downfield, he's not able to look at the defenders who are coming screaming at him. Once you actually cross the line of scrimmage and establish yourself as runner. In fact, I think even before then, once you leave the pocket, you are established as a runner. and the quarterback protections shouldn't apply anymore.
I agree. But when it's Patrick Mahomes, whatever established current rules seem to be out the window.
And we saw it a little bit with Brady, back in his prime.
It was never this bad.
It was never this bad. But I'm saying, that's why I said a little bit. Like, we saw it a little bit. I just think that the NFL we've got our next dynasty, got to protect this one even more than the last one. And it's not great. It's not fun to watch.
So then you go back to what Silver Pops was saying. Maybe he's got a point.
Maybe he does have a point, because that was the first game of the weekend. You set the tone for every other game after that, with a game where it felt like the officials weren't controlling the game, but they were nudging it. Get back on course there a little bit.
Weso Grande says the Texans are jealous of the Longhorns when it comes to targeting no calls. A
little bit.
Heavy Metal Maniac says you are correct. Jerry Jones is the puppet master. He tries to be, and then you get all these decades of sadness, from your Cowboys. Bullseye says, as a New York Giants fan, I'm adopting Ralph's logic here, and I'm cheering for the Washington Commanders. Wait, didn't I just read this? No, this is a whole different.
This is a different text. He's saying
another person saying the same thing. He says, I was born in Northern Virginia before my parents moved to New York City at 2 years old. I hate the Eagles with a vengeance, so the Commanders will be my second team for this weekend only. Let me just explain something to everybody. You don't need to declare any of this. Here's the difference. And I'll do the same thing when I'm watching the Commandos. I think a lot of people are suddenly like, wow. And fans of the Commanders for a variety of reasons. So saying, hey, I'm pulling for these guys. That's the guys I want to see win. That's not saying that's your second team or third or fourth team. Ralph bought jerseys and hats. That's the difference. If you go out, Bullseye, and you buy a Commander's jersey or hat or some swag, or you paint your face or whatever, then you're in a weird territory of having to declare your second team.
Ralph has his Seahawks stuff in the same room that he has his Rams stuff. I don't even understand what that would mean. That doesn't make any sense to me. I've got a soft spot for the Ravens, and I got a soft spot for the Chargers, because that's my brother's favorite team and my sister's favorite team. So I'll pull for those teams when they're on. Any gear that I have bought from those teams, I have purchased for them, not for me. I don't need Ravens stuff in my room. I'm not a Ravens fan.
I got 2 Colts jerseys. I got a blue one and a white one. They both have my name and number on it.
It's just I don't understand the buying stuff from another team thing.
So you're good, Bullseye. You're good, everyone.
Appreciate you rooting for us, though. That helps.
Sure. Buy
that.
a Commanders fan a drink. How's that? Raven Kid says, "Let's go, Commanders." HTTC.
Thank you.
What's HTTC mean?
Hail to the Commanders.
Used to be
HTTR, but times have changed.
Yeah, for some people, not everyone.
not
everyone. He says, yeah, they got multiple OSU players, and Jaden Daniels, he's fun to watch. Dude is legit. And somebody said, see, Cliff Kingsbury can make it work with a short quarterback. Like, why? He's 6'4". What are you talking about? This is the dumbest thing I ever heard.
He's not short. He's skinny.
Yeah, he is. He's very lanky. He needs to put on a few pounds, but hey.
But that was supposed to be a multi-year process. I don't think he's just so far ahead of schedule. He's, you get to the NFL, you get into an NFL workout, weight room, all that. They got here much faster than the workouts would have helped.
Heavy Metal Maniac says he's a 28. He says there are 28-year-old Cowboy fans who have never seen them in the Super Bowl. And I'm not bragging. I'm just furious. We can't win another one. How much longer before Jerry goes to the big sky? I don't know, man. Even on this TV show he guested on, he outlived the character. You know what I'm saying?
He's very rich, and I find that it's very easy to keep the Grim Reaper at bay when you've got money.
It's true.
Money tends to help that a lot.
It's the special sauce that the presidents and the queen and the monarchy get, and we don't. So, yeah, sorry, Heavy Metal Maniac. You might have another 10 years of Jerry Jones. Oof.
Yeah, look, I don't like the Cowboys. I wouldn't wish that on y'all. I really
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't wish that on you at all.
It can always be worse.
Oh,
so Patrick Mahomes could pass Joe Montana with 17 postseason wins and 5 Super Bowl starts. If they are able to get past the Bills in this next game. So that's what's ahead for him at least. And I'll tell you what, Gracie Hunt, the owner of the Chiefs, or at least is she like considered the owner, or is she just the owner's daughter? What is her role in everything? Is she running the show? Miss Kansas 2021 there? Is she?
I don't think so.
So she hangs out.
Clark Hunt is the.
Oh, that's right, Clark.
Mm-hmm.
So her dad is Clark, and so she hangs around. I don't know if this is real, but she said, she's like, hey, yeah, ever since they started dating, Taylor Swift started coming around, we've grown our fan base between 30 and 40%. I don't know about that. 30 and 40%, really?
I mean, there's a lot of Swifties, and they're very crazy. And they will be into anything she's into.
I feel like they might have been like, last year, they show up, they're like, wow, there's Taylor. Okay, that's her boyfriend. And then they're like,
well, not the people who are obsessed.
And then they just stop watching, you think. You're like, okay, well, that happened. She hasn't broken up with him yet. Well, then when are we going to get another album? That's what they're thinking.
People dated Taylor Swift and saw their streaming numbers go up because her fans started listening to their music. It's yeah. I don't know that 30 to 40% seems really high. I don't know that it's that high, but I wouldn't be surprised to find that it's a significant bump in people.
They've been dating like a year and a half. I didn't know that. A year and a half. And here's the thing. Somebody was like, oh my gosh, she's wearing layers. Oh, you know what that means? It's cold? No, she's pregnant. No,
it's Kansas City. It's very cold outside here. Yeah.
It's cold. I was like, she's wearing a Kelsum puffer jacket. Oh,
I dare you.
Calm down, everyone.
In Kansas City at night without a puffer jacket.
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to do that.
Remember, like, it was a year ago. Those dudes froze to death in the yard.
Yes,
they got drunk and froze to death in the yard in Kansas City. So yeah, you don't want that to happen to Taylor Swift, do you? Don't answer.
And she'd never allow it.
Heavy Metal Maniac says, so what you're saying is I'll never see him win another Super Bowl in my lifetime. Well, I mean, you probably got a good 20, 30 years left, 40 years maybe. It could happen, but not as long as Jerry Jones is involved. Sailor Pop says, Jeffrey, I don't want to speak for everyone on the text line, but when I said the phrase, according to Ralph's logic, I used it as a passive-aggressive way to tell him to suck it. Oh, no, we got that.
Mm-hmm.
We all got that. All right, we got to take a break. I got to go get a drink of water. We got to pay some bills. When we come back, looks like we're ready to talk about the Commandos beating the Lions. It's the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic.
When you're in the thick of a project, Harbor Freight is the place that always comes in handy. Whether you're picking up something for your pickup truck or a power tool for your project, at Harbor Freight, your dollar always goes further. And these days, when everything seems to cost more, you can take pride in knowing that you get hardworking tools at hardworking prices. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Make extra money daily from your sports betting? Dylan Cohen from Beat the Book here. You know, I'm always about finding ways to take sports betting to the next level. And that's exactly why I'm pumped to tell you about Edge Boost, the financial platform that pays you cash back to wager. Edge Boost is an online bank account that pays you for every deposit. With the Edge Boost Visa debit card, you're getting up to 0.5% cash back on all of your sportsbook, daily fantasy site, and casino transactions. That's free money back in your pocket just for doing what you're already doing. It's a no-brainer. Plus, your Edge Boost debit card starts with a $250,000 daily limit, and it will never be declined for gambling activity. They've got built-in tools to help you stay responsible, and there's absolutely no hidden fees or minimum required balances. So stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet to learn more and sign up today. That's edgeboost.bet. Once again, edgeboost.bet.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Head coach Bobby Hurley and Sun Devil men's basketball are ready to join the Big 12 Conference. This season, the Sun Devils host conference foes Baylor, Iowa State, Arizona, TCU, and Houston, all at Desert Financial Arena.
And another steal ahead to Miller. And Miller reverses it up and in. And he's fouled. Holy moly.
Join the action and get your Sun Devil men's basketball tickets today by calling 480-727-0000 or go online to sundeviltickets.com.
So, what's your favorite thing about sports? The excitement, the action, or the 5-meat pizza and the six-pack?
Bingo.
That's what we thought. 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic. And always on at 1580thefanatic.com.
Today's Blender here on 1580. The Fanatics. Suns are down by 30 with 5 minutes left in the game. I think we can just go ahead and call this one.
Yeah. The Cavs are really, really good, but this is embarrassing.
Dear God. All right, moving on.
No, it's not in prime time, so there's that.
So a new texter on the text line says, hey, ask them Texan whiners, last playoff team to win with 8 sacks. Well, I think what you're missing here is I didn't hear any Texans whining. We, as impartial viewers of this game, saw bad officiating, and you never. Once something happens like that, you're like, it's one little thing, no big deal. When it happens over and over, then it's the same line I used. By the way, this is the anniversary of the Deflategate game. But the thing I'd said then was he was cheating. They're like, well, yeah, but you guys had already lost that game anyway. That wasn't the deflated balls that made a difference. And here's the line I will use every time when somebody cheats. We'll never know now, will we? We'll never know now. If that had not been called as, a personal foul, if that had just been a sack or a tackle.
Because how many times have we seen that stat be reversed? Like teams don't win when they give up 8 sacks. True. But we have games where, wow, this team managed to win a game despite having 4 turnovers. Like the stuff like that doesn't normally happen, but it can happen. And we were robbed of the opportunity to see whether or not it would have. And in a game like football, where you can't say that it's a game of inches and then be surprised when little differences in the margins add up to something like that. And I don't mind bad calls in favor of the Chiefs if it's just a poorly officiated game and everybody's getting bad calls. But when you start to get those bad calls, and you didn't see that happen in favor of the Texans. This wasn't something where the officials had no clue what was going on and it was bad officiating all the way down, which we've seen those games too. That happens, but that wasn't this game.
No, and it hasn't been that game for a while. It's been game after game where you can tell the officiating is, man, you breathe on Mahomes and it's personal foul. But in other games, I mean, look at Jalen Hurts was getting rocked, and they're like, yeah, it's fine. They didn't even call anything. It's the same. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me reverse that. It's not the same. It's way, way more blatant and worse and actually should have been called, but they didn't.
And Jalen might be injured going into next week as a result.
And that affects a lot. So, yeah, saying that the Texans are whiners, I think the Texans have a good case to complain about the officiating, but all the Texans players and coaches, they are also saying, but we can't let that be the reason. We should have done better. We should have played better. We should have made it indisputable. We should have just won the damn game. Hard to do when everybody's against you on that, but still, that is what I'm hearing from them. So, no, I don't hear any whiners from the Texans, much as I'd like to say I did.
Yeah.
And because those a-holes are in my division, and I hate them.
Pointing out that the refs,
but I like their coach.
Were really
this
bad.
Is really hard for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like that's how I feel about the Eagles to a degree. I like Saquon as a guy. I think Jalen's a good dude. AJ Brown seems pretty awesome. Devontae Smith, I liked him back at Alabama. Like the individual members of that team, I like. They're just on the team I hate the most.
What were we talking about like 10 minutes ago when Moist one says, I thought alcohol didn't freeze. They were murdered.
Oh, the guys that froze to death.
Oh, were they?
They were drunk, but
or was it like fentanyl or something?
Alcohol doesn't stay in your system. I don't think that I don't think they ever found any other causes there.
Here's the thing, Moist one. Alcohol in their system didn't freeze, but they did.
Your blood doesn't become 100% alcohol when you drink. Like there's still a lot of that needs to be water, or you would have died before you even made it outside.
Mm-hmm. I still don't know. I guess I don't know if I care enough to go back and read the story, but Big George says, I saw a funny meme this weekend, showed the Dallas Cowboys and said that they are now the only team left in the NFL that's not been to a conference championship game this century. Ouch. Is that true? Conference championship game.
Like, say it again?
So you're saying that 31 teams have been to a conference championship game in the last 25 years? Yeah, that could work out.
Yeah, because it used to be the last 3 teams before the last couple of seasons was Washington and Detroit and Dallas. Detroit went last year.
Mm-hmm.
Washington's there this year.
Oh
boy.
Oh no.
Aren't the Browns on that list though?
Oh no.
I think the Browns might also be on that list.
Check the list, George. Silver Pop said, I don't know. I think the Browns maybe did make it. No, wait, to a
conference championship game in the last 25 years?
They had one good year in there somewhere. I don't know. Silver Pop says, Keon, I don't bet online or anything, but now, no disrespect, but I don't listen to Beat the Book, but I did hear the commentators mention something about points when the Chiefs took a safety. I believe. What was that about? I think Silver Pops, what you're asking is, tell us about the bad beat from the Chiefs taking the intentional safety. What did that?
I have to refresh my memory. I don't know if
No, it was something to do with the wasn't that just the score for the the game ended 23-14.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The line was 9.5. And see if it was 9.5 and you take the intentional safety, that causes I think that caused the line to move. Maybe it was 9.
Are we sure that was the game?
I'm not I'm not sure that was the game.
How is it 23-14 then?
There was.
Are you sure we're talking about the right game?
I'm not sure either. I'm trying to remember. I don't recall the Chiefs taking an intentional safety.
No, they did. Here it is. But, I needed to check that. Yeah, the Chiefs took an intentional safety, and it cut. They had an 11-point lead, and then they ended with a 9-point lead, and they were 9.5-point favorites. That's what it was. So, that is just weird because I didn't realize the Texans had 12 points. That's just an odd score to have.
Because they missed a couple of extra points.
Is that? Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
Fairbairn missed a couple, and it was like bad too. Like, man, dude, what? where are you today?
Wife and I went for a walk, and we missed like the first part of the game. So yeah, that's probably why we didn't know that. Anyway, so it's the 9.5-point spread and the Chiefs taking that. They did not take the intentional safety to mess with the spread. Why did they do that? Just to run the clock, right?
Yeah. But that still sucks. If you thought you had it covered, the spread was covered, and then suddenly it was not covered.
Moiswin says, hope Hurts is okay, but I'd love it if they had to play Kenny Pickett. That would be so bad. That'd be so bad of a conference championship. No, Hurts is going to play no matter what. I almost guarantee it. But listen, we got to talk
he's
about.
Absolutely going to play, but will he be 100%? That's the real question.
I don't think so. No.
He was limping after the game, so I'm going to say no.
Let's talk about Commandos beating the Lions. That was an interesting game.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
So I don't even know what to think, because part of me looks at this and says that the Lions, they looked bad. They looked out of sorts. Goff looked sick, like sickly. And Dan Campbell looked sickly. Everybody looked like way off. And even Dan Campbell's like, he's like, it's my fault. He says, but yeah, we were off. He says, if we'd even had our B game, we would have won that game. So they're basically out of sorts. They were not their normal selves. And usually you'd say, yeah. But you got to admit, they didn't look right. I know they got tons of defensive injuries and stuff.
To me, that was the big factor. In
the game, Jared Goff, he didn't look right.
You don't think so?
I really almost wondered if he was sick. Now I think he got a concussion. But he already looked weird before that.
He might have, but yeah, I didn't think that he looked
weird.
But
I'm not trying to take anything away from the Commanders.
That first interception was just like uncharacteristically bad.
Right.
He had his guy open, and then he just skied it. He just put way too much air under the ball, and it went right into the arms of Quan Martin.
And whose idea was it to have Jennings throw that ball?
Oh, that was or Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams.
It was Ben Johnson.
What a horrible play call that was.
And
Tom Brady thing you needed was that mistake right there.
Tom Brady was losing his mind. How dare you take the ball out of the hands of the quarterback? And
shut up, Tom Brady. You know how many times I said shut up, Tom Brady? Like one more than I said shut up, Tony Romo.
But I think that instance, he's right. Like they were down. They were playing from behind. You're trying to catch up.
He just wanted to spark, I think. And that was just the wrong timing.
The wrong timing, probably the wrong player. Like Jameson Williams. Well, first off, any receiver in that situation, even if it's completely not open, they're throwing it. Because how often do you get to do it? He's going to rip it no matter what happens. And then it's Jameson Williams, who I think for a variety of reasons has shown that he has the worst decision making on the field. I wouldn't have trusted him in that moment. And yeah, I don't know that your quarterback, the guy who's been in those big moments all game long, I don't know that you want the ball out of his hands then and there.
Yeah, it was a mess. And as Dan Campbell said, everything was just a bit off. Everything was just off. He said it wasn't just one thing. It's just kind of how the day was. It hasn't been our MO. We didn't play great. He says, I didn't have him ready. And then he just went ahead and took the blame himself. But it's just, they didn't look like their normal self. But here's the thing. Your team is very consistent. The Commanders didn't care. They just showed up. They were going to do what they were going to do. This was a shootout, 45-31. It's just when you shoot yourself in a shootout, you die.
Yeah.
And that's what the Lions ended up doing here. They shot themselves in the shootout. But see, nobody was playing great defense. Your defense wasn't that great.
It wasn't that great in terms of being able to stop people from moving up the field and getting yards. That's been, a big issue for this team. But they have this weird bend but don't break thing that they've been doing, I don't know, since the Saints game at least, where it's just been they've just been able to hold on enough. And this is the ideal situation for the Washington Commanders. If you can just hold a team to about 30, especially a team like this with an offense like that, you've got a chance. Because if you look at the Commanders' record and the teams that they've beaten this year, a shootout is the form of game they have won more often than any other form of game. They don't get these low scoring things. It's mostly been, hey, if you want to go back and forth, like you've said this multiple times with the Lions, it's hard to do it over and over again against them. Mm-hmm. The Commanders are the team that can do that, just built that way.
Well, the Commanders were able to enjoy really the very basic minimum of defensive.
Well, they did
success,
force 5 turnovers.
Which is no, I got you on that. But stop them one more time than they stop you.
That's all it takes.
They actually
sometimes.
stopped them 2 more times than they stopped them, and that's why you had 45-31. So
Yeah.
more to talk about with the Commanders doing something they hadn't done since 1991, making Keon a very happy man. We got more to talk about in this game, and we got the other games to talk about too. So come on back. It's the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic.
Progressive presents a testimonial of sorts.
Hey, slow down! Oh, yeah? Well, you drive like my grandma. She's a very attentive and courteous driver who wears a seatbelt and always uses her turn signals. She's also a talented painter and has very low cholesterol. Not that that has anything to do with her drive. We just thought a more complete picture of who she is might be interesting. Anyway, have a nice day.
Safe driver? Get Snapshot from Progressive and get a personalized rate based on how you drive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Wanna play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
My pain is considerable, but that prescription is dangerous.
The side effects of my medicine are worse than my condition.
I'm in recovery. I can't take those pills.
When faced with a health crisis, you shouldn't have to choose between risks.
At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our medical doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. Our naturopathic doctors can restore pain-free joint function and restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves immediate physical symptoms without having you take a bunch of pills. If traditional medicines aren't working, don't you think it's time to start feeling like yourself again? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
Did you know that daily multivitamins boost your health on the inside and the outside? It's true. Multivitamins with folic acid boost energy levels, improve your mood, and promote overall wellness. And if you decide to have a baby, they can help prevent birth defects in a pregnancy. That's why the Arizona Department of Health Services is offering a free 3-month supply of multivitamins. Visit azDHS.gov/PowerMe A2C for free vitamins.
Sponsored by the Arizona Department of Health Services.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM.
All right, people, settle down because it's time. Time for what?
Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show. Let's do it.
All right, everybody, it's 4 o'clock here on the Daily Blender. I'm your good friend, radio pal, Jeffrey O'Brien, alongside not Randy White. Hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. We got Keon Rose in the control room, and you guys are on the Fanatic text line, 888-368-1580. If we broadcast live in the Harmon Solar Studios in Scottsdale. What a weekend of football it was. And the one upset, not the one I thought it would be. But I'm glad for our friend Keon Rose that it was this one. I really thought if anybody was going to upset, it might have been the Rams, but no, it was the Commandos taking down the Lions, breaking the hearts. You notice we haven't heard from Ringless Joe.
Yeah. Ringless Joe texted Beat the Book last Friday and said that the Lions were going to beat the Commanders by 20. So there might be a little bit of laying low there just based on the level of trash talk. Which I'm not going to give him a hard time. At
least he doesn't have to change his text or nickname now.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
There's always that.
Yeah, I suppose. But I understand. Like there were a lot of Lions fans before the game, like really crazy trash talk. But I also understand like the Lions have been, bad the same way the Commanders have been for a long time, but they had 3 years to kind of ramp up into it. I don't have anything to say to anybody because I'm just shocked every time they win. I'm still shocked. And I talk to a lot of my friends back home and it's just like, we don't know what to say.
If you had told somebody that this might happen, they've been like, nah. But once you actually saw it happen and you're like, wait a minute, these Commanders way better than we gave them credit for. And then you start to remember the other games you may have seen the Commanders play. They just keep doing their own thing. They don't care what you do. They're doing their own thing. And Jaden Daniels, everybody's like, oh my God, he's so poised. He's so chill. He's unflappable. He's been that all year.
Yeah.
There's nothing new in what happened yesterday. There was no special secret sauce. They showed up and they were the Commanders. We just never noticed. And neither did you, Keon, because you sat there always waiting for that other shoe to drop. Every moment you were like, well, they won, but they're in the playoffs, but
I picked the Lions
you had
too.
No idea.
I picked them to beat the Buccaneers because I thought they could win that one. And honestly,
you get a pass because you're a fan, and so nothing looks right to you. But the rest of us should have noticed how good these Commanders were a long time ago, but we didn't because we always expected.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like even Commander fans feel that way. Like you just, you feel like you shouldn't go to bed because you're going to wake up in the morning and Dan Snyder's going to still be the owner of the team, and none of this good
Goodell's
stuff.
Going to step up to the podium and say, "We've made a horrible mistake. The number thing was broken in the sign, and actually the Lions won that game. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just and also Dan Snyder's back, and also
Dan Snyder has reacquired the team
because this stuff that's happening. Like a lot of people talk about the records that Jaden Daniels breaks, but to most Commander fans, like the stuff that's important is the droughts that this team has had that he's taken away. The last winning season that they had was 2016. The last double-digit winning season that they had was 2011. The last single playoff game that they won in a postseason was 2005. And of course, the NFC title game, you finally get there for the first time in 32 years. It's like a lot of these droughts, you're thinking, man, like I'd give anything for just that stuff to go away. And now it's gone. I don't know what to do with myself.
I would say the Commanders smell blood in the water with Jalen Hurts, hurting, but I don't think they care.
Yeah.
They're just going to keep doing what they show up, and they're just going to keep doing that.
And they're not like just a happy to be here team. I think the fans are just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here. I say it all the time, and I'll continue to say it.
To work.
I'm just enjoying the ride. I don't know how long it goes for, and I don't know when it ends, but I'm just enjoying it. But that team, the reason why they signed guys like Austin Eckler and Zach Ertz in the offseason was to have the veterans on the team. Maybe not for a moment like this. I think that even they wouldn't have expected this, but having those guys who've been there, who've done it, they understand. And so like helping the young guys prepare, you've already got that experience in the room. It's not a bunch of kids being immature. You've got older vets who can sit there and go, no, hold on, pump the brakes for a little bit. Like, this is what we have to do if we want to win. You can't take the next team lightly just because you're on a roll. And they've been able to stay pretty humble and stay close to earth. And it's paying off.
They're just showing up to work and then they're doing their thing. That's all I saw. And, having got to see a couple of games by them, and you look back, you're like, look at their record. Look at their season. Look how they've been every single time. So they're not unbeatable. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I'm just very impressed with, where Quinn's got this team. So
yeah, even the defense, which is, it's not a good defense personnel wise, but the way they're coached, they're playing at a level higher the actual talent on that roster would suggest. And like the other rookie that they have on that team outside of Jaden Daniels, Mikey Sanderstill, two interceptions in that game. And they were both huge because one stopped a touchdown from happening. So, like they just, everybody from the top of the organization on down, like they all made really good decisions, and it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, and so now with the Commandos about to play the Eagles, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either.
I should pick the Eagles, but then again, maybe I shouldn't. I honestly, as we stand here right now, I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with this. I think I'll be rooting for the Commanders, but, the Eagles are still good. Hurts being injured might be the main factor. I guess we'll have to see how that goes. Any word on his condition? Because when they asked him about it, he's like, hey, I played the game,
And he said he's playing Sunday. So just, he's like, I don't care what anybody tells me.
Sure, but it's relevant, what his issue is. Or
there isn't an update on the injury, but I don't know. I saw the video of him leaving the field, and he was hobbling.
All right. I'm sure we'll hear more about it as the week goes forward. Is exactly what Sirianni's saying. So I guess we'll see. That is something to look at, something to keep an eye on. Of course, Lions had Jared Goff. So I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. It's too early in the week.
I'm not getting ahead of anything. It's
so now the Lions got that close, and the looks on the faces, the people in the crowd, this disbelief that this is where it's going to end. Not even in like the conference championship, in the divisional playoffs. And it's like after everything they've been through, and they get to that point, and then just that look of absolute home field advantage disbelief. And now you're like, okay, it's going to be harder next year. Why? Losing both your coordinators. Your OC and your DC go bye-bye. And Dan Campbell's like, well, we can't allow that to derail the team. Yeah, you can, because your guys were a big part of it. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn were a big part of the success you had up to that moment, although you wouldn't have really thought so from that game. But no, that's a huge blow to the Lions to lose both those guys.
It is. And you hope that, and most teams that are really good about this have a successor of some kind ready to go. And it may not be the same, but you're not trying to have that big of a fall off on that. But if you're a successful organization, like that's going to happen to you. You're going to lose your offensive and defensive coordinator if you're any good at it at some point, and the Chiefs have been able to stabilize over the years and stay relatively great. And, you even with the Eagles lost, their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, and they're still around, like they're maybe not playing at that same Super Bowl level, but you have to find a way to make it work. You don't have a choice.
So Ben Johnson has been hired as the Bears head coach. That is at least almost finished, if it's not finished now.
Yeah, it's finished.
So Ben Johnson, he's gone. Aaron Glenn, I don't know, man. Maybe he won't get hired. He just was at the helm of a defense that gave up 481 yards,
which is fine. Which is like fine to say, like, yeah, look at the defense and what just happened to you, but your defense was a mash unit. Like that.
Does he not bear any responsibility for that at all?
The guy,
these guys getting hurt, maybe something to look at.
If anybody, I think Dan Campbell, to the degree that like in some of these blowouts, they lost guys in some of these blowouts. I don't think they should have been on the field. Aiden Hutchinson, who is the best defensive player on that team. And did Aiden Hutchinson even play half the season this year? He ended the season with 10.5 sacks without even playing half the year. Mm-hmm. You lose a guy like that, you're just not as good. And you're going to try and find ways to make it up. They traded for Zadarius Smith to get some kind of pressure on that defensive line, and it helped a little, but that's not the same thing. If you have Aiden Hutchinson out there, that's a different world. The Commanders didn't take a sack in the game.
The Lions' success is also going to be their hindrance because they've gotten this far. Now both their coordinators are going, and they are behind the curve on trying to get the next coordinators. Other teams have been working on it, doing what the Lions are now behind in the process for sure. This is going to be a really critical and tough off season for the Detroit Lions. Also tough on Amik Robinson. Holy crap. You see that dude get his arm broken? My God.
I missed that.
You didn't see Amik Robertson get his arm broken?
I did not see that. No. I don't
know.
The
cornerback right there. He was he was part of a bunch of guys came over to tackle that he just happened to be there, and somebody hit him in the arm with a helmet, and it just his arm was like going in a couple of different directions there.
Oh.
And they helped him off the field. He was like holding his arm, and he was like, "Yep, that's done. It's broken." Thought for a minute there, maybe it had a dislocated shoulder because of how floppy everything looked. Nope, it was broken humerus, and he's already had surgery to repair it. They're like, "Yeah, he'll be ready to go for next season." But still,
man, yeah, no,
it was a big loss for that already depleted defense. So. But yeah, I don't think anybody did that on purpose or on. By the way, Jameson Williams, maybe don't hump the ground when you get a touchdown.
I would think that's unwise. Yeah.
Yeah, just this like he's like, here's my touchdown celebration. I'm going to have intercourse with the end zone. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Remind me of that. It was a very graphic version of the old Key and Peele skit.
It was. He somehow found another level to it.
I was like, well, this is uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
Oh, look, he's doing push-ups. No, he's not.
No,
he's not doing push-ups. Nope. It's not a push-up.
But
not a push-up.
Like I said, the worst decision maker on the field is Jameson Williams. I mean, the throw that he made. We're talking about a man who started his NFL career suspended for gambling.
Mm-hmm.
He played half his rookie year because of bad decisions.
Well, that one will cost him probably about $20,000.
Yeah.
But he gets to go on vacation now. So thank you, Commanders. By the way, what's that, Swave Dave? He says, I can't believe they didn't call that Roger hit on Jared Goff right to the chin. And no one hardly even spoke about it afterwards. I'll tell you why they didn't call it is they didn't see it. It was such a fast play. And yeah, it was like, they did see it because he got taken aside for concussion protocol, but I think it's just the angle. That time I'll give the refs a pass because when the player came in, it was such a fast thing and there was a lot going on in that play. It doesn't matter, but it wasn't intentional. But
it seemed like they missed a few calls in that game, not just that one.
True.
The De'Ami Brown catch, I think the 39-yarder, was pass interference because his eyes were covered by the defensive player. His hands were in his helmet, covering his eyes.
Call.
And he still caught the ball because
the ball was perfectly thrown.
He just put his arms out.
You're like, thank you. That was crazy.
Yeah, man.
So Swave Dave, yeah.
But that was
I think they just didn't see it when it happened. That's all. It should have been called. Commanders guard Sam Cosmi.
Yeah.
That's going to torn ACL. Yeah,
that's the best offensive lineman on the whole line. So that's going to hurt going up against Philly and the monsters they have on that D line.
So yeah, he's going to be not back even as fast as the guy who had his arm broken. This surgery and then rehab and all that. He won't be back until like middle of the beginning of the season. So a couple of games will have gone by before you see Cosmi again.
Yeah, that's a lot of guys will tell you if something's got to break, better it be the joint than the bone than the joint, because at least the bone recovers faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? When he got hurt early in the game, right? You guys are fine. Feel like you guys did okay on the line.
I mean, again, we'll see. The defensive line for Detroit, as injured as they were, not the same as what's going to come at you in Philly. Just not the same. That's a different level of defense.
So, yeah, I mean, watching that game and, seeing a rookie do that, I just really don't know where to go with my pick.
Yeah. I mean, in the playoffs, the Commanders offense has scored 72 points. They haven't turned the football over at all. They haven't given up a sack. They've punted once. That it doesn't even make sense. None of those numbers to me in my head make any sense. Then you're going up against the Philadelphia team that's, played them really close 2 times and lost 1 and won 1. I don't know where to go with the pick either.
Can you imagine? I
genuinely can't. I actually can't.
I don't know.
I couldn't have imagined any of this though, so I don't know.
So my brain tells me that the Chiefs should lose to the Bills. And my brain tells me that if Hurts plays, the Eagles should beat the Commanders. But I thought that the Lions should beat the Commanders. So it's not that clear cut when it comes to the NFC. The AFC, I mean, if the Chiefs up and beat the Bills the way the Bills have been playing, you know what I'm saying? Then my early in the year comment, remember I said this? I said, I wonder if they're just laying low, waiting until the games really matter, and then they're going to turn it on.
But we didn't even see that Saturday
because it didn't really matter yet.
Like
did you ever feel like the Chiefs weren't in control and going to win that game? Come on.
No, I didn't. I didn't feel like they weren't in control.
That was like a regular season game for the Chiefs.
I don't think you can think that way. I don't think any team is so powerful they can just control the game that way to where it's like winning in the NFL is hard, even for great teams. You just play. You go out.
All
you go
they
all
do
out.
is play to the level of the team they're playing against. That's all they've done all season, is play to the level of the team they're playing against and a little bit more. They've done it against bad teams. They've done it against good teams.
I don't know that that's an intentional thing. I don't know that you're choosing to do that.
I'm not so sure.
Because I don't think you can choose to do that.
Well, if that's their DNA, then expect that this is going to be toe-to-toe, knockdown, drag-out between the Chiefs and the Bills next Sunday.
I do expect that. I actually do expect
But my brain is telling me the Bills should win that game. Unless I was right before about the Chiefs.
I mean, I'm leaning to the Bills as well. But even if the Chiefs were to win that game, if the game's close, if you're scratching and battling, and it's not like the Bills have no weaknesses either, like the Chiefs have the best quarterback in the league.
And
you will
always one of the best defenses.
Even if the Bills, and they're not, but even if the Bills were better at every other position group, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, all of it. If you've got the best quarterback on the field, you win sometimes, even when it doesn't make any sense.
Well, next Sunday is going to answer all of our questions, and it should be very, very good football. I hope. You never know.
Fingers crossed.
Usually,
it's the
conference championships are a lot of the times even better than the Super Bowl.
I agree. Yeah.
So, but I think this is setting us up for a pretty good Super Bowl too. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got 2 more games to talk about and a bunch of other stuff too. It's a Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic.
I've just been feeling so sluggish lately. You should try the Metamucil 2-week challenge. The Metamucil 2-week challenge? Yeah, Metamucil 4-in-1 fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Start your daily routine now, and in 2 weeks, you could be feeling great. Well, it's been 2 weeks. How you feeling? Lighter and feeling great.
If you want to feel lighter by promoting digestive health, sign up to take the 2-week challenge at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Make extra money daily from your sports betting? Dylan Cohen from Beat the Book here. You know, I'm always about finding ways to take sports betting to the next level. And that's exactly why I'm pumped to tell you about Edge Boost, the financial platform that pays you cash back to wager. Edge Boost is an online bank account that pays you for every deposit. With the Edge Boost Visa debit card, you're getting up to 0.5% cash back on all of your sportsbook, daily fantasy site, and casino transactions. That's free money back in your pocket just for doing what you're already doing. It's a no-brainer. Plus, your Edge Boost debit card starts with a $250,000 daily limit, and it will never be declined for gambling activity. They've got built-in tools to help you stay responsible, and there's absolutely no hidden fees or minimum required balances. So stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet to learn more and sign up today. That's edgeboost.bet. Once again, edgeboost.bet.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, wash, wow, for all day freshness.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
The Weekend Warriors are hosting a super duper Super Sunday pregame show.
And you're invited. Join us on February 9th from 9 to noon at the Spot Neighborhood Grill in Glendale.
Of course, we'll talk about the upcoming big game.
We'll have special guests and great audience giveaways. And you'll get to meet me in person.
They'll get to meet all of us in person.
Yeah, but I'm the best looking one of the bunch.
Anyways, join us as we broadcast live from the Spot Neighborhood Grill on Bell Road in Glendale.
February 9th from 9 to noon before the big game. Right here on 1580 The Fanatic.
Stay Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic. Gross. Cavaliers beat the Suns 118-92. Ugh. Oh. Yeah. I don't even have the bandwidth to deal with that right now. Ugh, what a mess. Let's go to the text line, 888-368-1580. Dr. Roadmap says, I think the Chiefs will win it all. Why? Because the NFL wants them to win. Yeah, I don't know, man. Boy, when that narrative is floating around and we see the kind of game we saw this weekend and the other times we've seen officiating be very pro-Chiefs, that flat earth thing gets harder and harder to defend, doesn't it?
I mean, a little bit, but this is one of those things where the reason why it's hard to get this thing away and to disprove it is because there's not enough transparency there for people to really believe that the NFL isn't interested in this. Like, the Chiefs do make money. Dynasties historically do make money. And, once you lose Tom Brady and you lose the Patriots, the NFL is kind of looking around like, what are we going to do now? And then here comes this great Chiefs team. So if there's an opportunity to maybe nudge them back on the rails, I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but it's not hard for people to believe that that's what's happening. And the NFL needs to be really open about this. And I would do anything, if I'm Roger Goodell in my power, to stress to the officials that you can't have a championship game that has that stink on it. It's going to affect the way that people view this product moving forward.
So it used to be with the Patriots themselves were cheaters. For the Chiefs, now it's the NFL is cheaters. That's worse.
Yeah, I think people also kind of felt that for the Patriots too, just not to the same level. But the Tuck rule is always the one where people point to the NFL. the NFL helped it a little bit, and there's some hits on Tom Brady in some playoffs where you're just like, that's not a flag. That's just not a flag. But this is worse, and it's not helped by the fact that Patrick Mahomes doesn't mind putting the refs in these positions too. He doesn't seem to mind getting to the sideline and maybe I'm gonna step out, maybe I'm gonna stay in. Who can say? Like, if he's not helping it in a way that Brady wasn't hunting for it, the way Mahomes is like, hey, I don't. If they're going to do it, might as well see if they'll help this time too. It's only logical.
Hefty Lefty says, all I know about the Chiefs this year is that their backups weren't close to good enough against the Broncos starters. Go Broncos in the 2025 season. You showed them, Hefty.
You got it, man.
You showed them. T-Licious says, I don't feel bad for Detroit. Niners are about to have their 5th defensive coordinator in the last 5 years.
Yeah, when you're good at it. When you're good at it.
That Lions window, man, just got, if it's not completely closed, losing those 2 guys, that is a brutal hit.
Hopefully you have your heir apparent waiting. Like once you knew that Ben Johnson was going to be a hot commodity, you needed to have the next guy ready to go. And like when we talk about teams that have fallen off a lot, the Atlanta Falcons and when Dan Quinn was there come to mind, because that's when I was, doing covering the Falcons a little bit in Georgia. And the thing that happened, after Kyle Shanahan gets hired by the Niners, Dan Quinn could never find that next coordinator to really help him. And a lot of people were like, why didn't you have the next guy ready to go? And, that was just a first time coaching mistake, and something that he says he's learned from. But at the time, it was just like there wasn't another person waiting after Kyle Shanahan. I would be shocked to learn that this particular Lions organization doesn't have that set up and ready to go.
Last Optimist says the NFL told the Chiefs they could win so long as the Texans covered. That's why they took the safety. He says, no, I don't really believe this. Chiefs are in the bottom of the league as far as penalty difference. That false start was a phantom call against them and killed a drive in the middle of the game. Yeah, I saw that.
And there was an offsides on one of the blocked field goal, I think, for Fairbairn that was not called, and the Chiefs got to block a field goal that, Reed was offsides. He was offsides. Like, if you go back and watch it, it's not even close. Like, there's stuff like that. Like, there's enough of it in that one game where you go, what the hell, man?
So there might be money in a dynasty, but we fans, that's not what we want. Nobody wants to see that.
Not like that. Like, people can live with a dynasty if it feels real. Like, people can live with Michael Jordan and the Bulls because who was helping them? The Jordan was just that good, or the Alabama dynasty in college football. Like, everybody hated Alabama and the Crimson Tide, but you couldn't deny they were just better than all of this. Like, that was what was happening. This feels a little bit different when you've got the dynasty going, but now you've got this cloud, this stink of maybe it's not all them. I don't think you want that.
Can you go back to all the bad calls and attribute that to the Chiefs winning? You know what I'm saying? Can somebody go back each game, go through the game, find the bad call or the non-call, and can that be directly attributed to the Chiefs winning?
I think there might be a game or two, but I don't think you can find it for every single game, because it does end up falling into that territory of, like what you said, we'll never know. Now, will we? We'll never know for some of these games where, like, maybe they didn't need it. That's where, Mahomes trying to bait the officials into throwing flags. I hate that stuff because I don't think they need it. I think the Chiefs are good enough if in fact they are getting help. And I'm not going to say that they are, but if they are, they don't need it. They're talented enough.
Love to see if somebody could do that. Like, at least find, okay, that was a crucial moment. That really could have had an effect. And you're right. I am the one that said it. We'll never know now, will we? But I would like to see if you can show me, because like Saturday's game, it was the Texans, but some of them calls, might have turned that tide. You know what I mean? Maybe they did.
Yeah, and the thing that also kind of makes it tough is if the Chiefs have a bad call against them, they've got to be more graceful about it than they've been. When other teams get those bad calls and then attribute it to, boy, the NFL really screwed up this one. Maybe they were backing the Chiefs, whatever. Everyone says they're whining and all this other stuff. But remember, the Chiefs had one bad call against them in a game involving Josh Allen and the Bills, I think last season. And Patrick Mahomes lost his mind in a way that I was like, man, that is not only is it not classy, that is, you look like a child throwing a tantrum.
Last Optimist says, I've seen the slow motion on the field goal that was blocked. He started moving the moment the ball was hiked by the center. He used to play on the same team as the kicker, and he just knew the snap timing. Yeah, that's one of the things that they looked at, and they said the same thing.
Maybe it's possible, but when I
simultaneous.
When I went back and looked at it, I was like, man, I don't know. That is, he seems to be in the neutral area before the ball snapped.
What?
Justin Reed. I was saying that when I looked at it, I thought he was in the neutral area before the ball was snapped.
Like his foot was already there, or like
Yeah.
he was moved. He had moved into that position.
Yeah, like his foot was already there as he was starting to like, because sometimes when you know the snap count, you get a little too, you have to time it perfectly. It's not something that just because you know it doesn't mean that you didn't time it correctly. I didn't think he did.
T-Licious says, you'll never convince me that the NFL gave that Walrus Reed a lifetime achievement and wait, what? Forgot didn't. Wait, I don't understand your damn text. Can you just resend the text the way you wanted it?
But
even with your
punctuation.
correction, I don't understand it. All right, let's move on. So yesterday's games, the weather was supposed to play a big role. I feel like the snow and frozen snow and rain game, I think it did more than it did when they went to Buffalo. But Saquon Barkley, snow, sleet, rain, whatever, he ran Philly right to the NFC Championship game, beating them Rams 28-22. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, it went about exactly as you thought it would, but
I mean, the Rams did have a real chance to put that thing away at the end.
Yeah, the Rams became the first team in postseason history to have at least 7 sacks in 2 consecutive games, and they still lost. So yeah, listen, Jared Verse, he showed up. He at least didn't embarrass himself after saying all the stuff he said about Philly.
Yeah.
You know, he had 2 sacks and he played a pretty good game. So he doesn't have to hang his head as they leave. But as far as the Rams go, yeah, this was another thing where they just, made mistakes at the wrong time. And then that's the way the game goes. I mean, outside of that, snow seemed to affect everybody pretty well equally, don't you think?
Pretty much, but I mean, equally is kind of relative when, if you're the running football team in the snow. I still think that there's a little bit more of an advantage there because it's just easier for you to get yards on the ground than it is for the throwing team to get yards in the air. That being said, didn't seem to really phase Matthew Stafford at all. He
was fine.
Yeah, all those years playing in Lambeau and playing at Soldier Field, like you get enough cold weather in that this is not a complete shock to your system.
Well, the turnovers were, of course, a factor for the Rams because the Eagles were able to turn, turnovers into points. But really, I mean, if you can't stop Saquon Barkley, you can't stop the Eagles. But I will say, the defense for the Rams, they put the hurt on Hurts. That's absolutely for sure. Boy, you're watching that and you're like, this is because listen, the Rams, they ain't beating anybody past the Eagles, but that they may have just, taken away the Eagles' chance of winning the next game with the way they played these guys.
Yeah. And when you have a running quarterback, you're trying to be physical and decrease their ability to hurt you in games. And they did that to Jalen. Just going to have a lasting effect beyond the game that they were playing in. But that's the plan, especially when you have a guy like Jalen who is, a power quarterback runner, which is a weird thing to say, but like can get there between the center and the guard and really do damage that way on short yardage situations. Anytime you can get a guy to really feel those hits, you do it.
Yeah, just it was a tough game just because of the weather more than anything. I don't know what this game looks like. It was played in good weather, but I'm just surprised that after seeing Jalen Hurts get dinged up, the Eagles are favored by 4.5 points in their next game over the Commanders.
I'm not. That Eagles defense is tough, man. Like it's one thing to go, okay, look what the Commanders did against the Lions, and look how beat up Jalen Hurts looks. But a lot of the success of the Eagles is that even when they're not great offensively, and there have been games where Jalen hasn't been great at all, and they've won the game. Jalen, rushes for 40 yards and throws for 114, and they still win the game because that defense gives them so many more opportunities and helps them capitalize on stuff. And then once you get the lead, you just keep giving the ball to Saquon. So the Eagles should have the edge in this game.
Well, the Eagles have the edge in that game, according to Vegas. They're also favorites to win the Super Bowl. I just don't agree with that.
I don't know if I agree with that either.
Plus 175.
I would favor whoever came out of the AFC, regardless of whoever came out of the AFC.
Well, Chiefs are behind them at plus 240 and the Bills at plus 260. So maybe bet accordingly, right? Your Commandos, long shot, plus 650. And by the way, I have to wonder, did anybody make any money betting on the Commanders to win the game this weekend? The game they just played. Did you? Because that was, what was it? That was it. That was 9.5. What was it?
Yeah, it was 9.5.
Also 9.5. Yeah.
Which I thought at the time, like, boy, that's a big number. I didn't think the Commanders were going to win the game, but I did think they were going to keep it close. I didn't think they were going to get blown out, but it seemed like a lot of the betting public thought, well, blowout's coming.
Yeah. I mean, who knew?
Who knew?
I did not think that was going to be the upset. But Saquon Barkley has now 2,329 yards in the regular and postseason. And I guess only Terrell Davis has had a season with more like that. So, of course, remember, postseason, still going for Saquon Barkley. Let's see what's the difference here. 2,331 is what Terrell Davis had. And then and then the next year he had 2,476. That is the number Saquon Barkley has to beat. Is another 140 yards. 140 yards. And then 141 yards. Sorry.
Yeah, he could probably do it. The Commanders
I think
have a surprisingly good pass defense for whatever reason. They're a top 5 pass defense. The run defense, actually, one of the things that confused me about the Lions game, maybe Ben Johnson just, panicked and got away from the run. The Commanders didn't really show me that they could stop Jahmyr Gibbs. I thought Gibbs was great. If I'm Ben Johnson, I find the way to keep giving the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs, and they got away from it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you've got a receiver throwing the ball rather than just trying to get a first down, like, duh. Chosen One says, good afternoon, gentlemen. Congratulations, Keon, on your Commanders continuing to surprise the entire league. Heard a cool factoid. Jaden Daniels made VR a requirement to any team that drafted him. He watched it at 1.75 times speed, and he credits that as one of the factors to his success. He says, let's go Bills versus Commanders in the Super Bowl. So he would have his virtual reality on at almost twice the speed as I don't understand, as he was practicing with it, like a video game.
Yeah. It's basically it's a whole football setup, and he had it at LSU, and it's basically like, now I can see the plays, but it's not like watching film. I'm actually first person seeing it. And I'm able to basically, okay, this is how the play plays out, but from the point of view of the quarterback. And if I see it faster than I do in real life, then it looks slower in real life. And well, he likes it a lot. It's good for him. And it also lets him, sort of practice without having to physically get people and say, hey, you want to go out there and stay after practice? Because you're not going to get everybody to do it.
Well, whatever he's doing at work, because the game seemed really slow to him. You know what I mean? In a good way. It's like and
also that's part of his personality. The guy just flatlines. It's so weird. They doinked in the field goal against Tampa Bay to move on, and you can see everybody jumping up and down on the sideline, and he's literally just on the bench staring into space, and then someone high fives him, and then he gets up, and then he starts celebrating with everybody. Like, he wasn't concerned at all.
You know, he's
different.
Yeah, he has 90 heartbeats per hour, is what I think. 90 per hour, not minute. Per hour. He's just boom.
Dan Quinn is like talking about times where he's on the sideline feeling panicked, and then he looks at Jaden and there's nothing going on as far as concern, or he's like, no, it's time for us to go back out. All right, let's go out and see if we can score some more.
Yeah, the text line's doing weird things. Let's take a break so I can fix it. We got more football to talk about when we come back, and let's take our time with it because I really don't want to talk about the Suns. It's the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
All right, so there we were, cruising through the new open air zoo when I realized that the park was closing in like 15 minutes. That's when the afternoon took an exciting turn. Luckily, we were in my Nissan Rogue. With its powerful DC turbo engine, well, we had more than enough time to see all the animals. Whoa! And outrun a few.
Drive the Nissan Rogue. Now, Nissan offers 6 vehicles starting under $30,000 MSRP. Shop at your local Nissan store or at nissanusa.com. 2024 Nissan Altima, Kicks, Leaf, Rogue, Sentra, and Versa. All prices are manufacturer's suggested retail price. Manufacturer's suggested retail price excludes destination and handling charges, tax, title, license, and options. Dealer sets actual prices.
Think you can handle a few drinks and still drive safely? Think again. Buzzed driving is drunk driving, and drunk driving can land you in serious trouble. In Arizona, there's zero tolerance for impaired driving. Even one drink can cost you thousands in fines and legal fees. Plus, take away your driver's license. So plan ahead. Use a designated driver or rideshare. Get the facts at drivesober.az.gov. This message is sponsored by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
1580 The Fanatic.
Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic. That's even worse, Thundar. What are you coming around here starting crap? He says, I'll give you something other than the Suns to talk about, Radio Pal. It was just announced on Instagram that the Dodgers have acquired the contract for every single active player in Major League Baseball.
Win the championship by default because there are no players left on any roster.
Jeez, you know that, I mean, that sounds almost true. That almost sounds true, Thundar.
It does feel true.
It's not even ironic. That's just the way it is nowadays, I guess. AJ Brown said something after yesterday's snow and slurry game. He said, you know what? I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That was not fun. Wasn't fun at all. Tough game, tough conditions. Made the most of it. Tried to get the win. Glad we did. You wouldn't wish that on your own worst enemy. Can I just again take exception with I wish so much worse on my worst enemy.
Well, it depends on who your worst enemy is. If your worst enemy is just a guy you kind of don't like, maybe
Nobody
not.
has a weak worst enemy. Everybody's got a pretty good worst enemy. If they're your worst enemy, it's not like your worst enemy is still somebody I'd hang out with. You know,
I guess
there's a villain in everybody's life. Who doesn't have a villain in their life? Text in. If you don't have it, I'll be yours. I'll make it my life's mission to become yours because life is just more interesting. I don't know. I can think of a couple of people that are my worst enemy. And a snow game is not the worst thing I would wish for them. Testicular cancer.
There are some people, if I knew them, they'd be my worst enemy, like personally.
Oozing
them,
fissures,
but,
in their anal area. Listen, why waste, easy peasy stuff on a worst enemy? You wish the worst for your worst enemy.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong.
And they're not really your worst enemy, are they?
Well, just depends on where they rank on the list of people that you hate. If you hate them, but you don't really hate them, because some people are just like that. They're just like very happy-go-lucky people. They like most of the people that they meet. Their worst enemy just isn't that bad of a person.
Guarantee you, there's always someone.
That's not true for me. I'm not speaking for me, by the way. I'm just saying that there are people that has to be true for somebody.
No, Moist One, I think you're misunderstanding. He says, what if my worst enemy is lactose intolerance? You're your own worst enemy on that. So you don't want to wish that on that because that's you. Swave Dave says, I heard that Donald Trump, along with Elon Musk, proposed a 25% tariff against the NFL if they didn't make the Washington Commanders exam against the Lions. What? I don't understand the text. You were going somewhere, and then you didn't. He said that was my conspiracy. Fake news. Back to your worst enemies. Also, you don't have to say, but can you think of, wow, I've got a worst enemy?
Yeah, I've got a worst enemy.
Is it me?
No.
Okay.
It's no one that lives in this state.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But see, even you, mild-mannered, easy to get along with, occasionally screaming, but mostly pretty cool, chill. Keon, even you have a worst enemy. Here's the thing that you really all have to think about. Are you somebody else's worst enemy?
Probably.
I don't think I am. And it's not an ego thing. It's more of when you've really gone and pissed some people off. I don't think I've done that. I mean, I have aggravated people on the radio. We've had some people get mad at us, but I don't think we've ever attained worst enemy status here. And in my life, I don't know if I've attained that.
Have you ever had anybody go from worst enemy to like pretty good friend?
No.
I've had that.
I'm Irish, dude. We don't. No. We hold grudges.
The guy that it was Irish.
Well, he's not full Irish.
He's from Boston.
He's something wrong with him. He's
hated that guy. Well, we gained each other's respect, is what it happened.
Oh, you can gain respect. There's pub friends, and then there's friends.
Yeah, like we didn't like hang out or anything, but
if you're at a pub, you can get in a fight with a guy, and then 20 minutes later, be having some beers with him, and it help at walking each other home, making sure what I'm saying. It just we're a different kind of people.
We got into multiple basketball fights over the course of a year and a half, and then
that's just sports, man. That's different.
Yeah. This guy hated me, man.
Worst enemy to lover. I don't think that's the case. Did you guys become lovers?
No.
Moist One, no. I mean, I had to ask. Wilbur says, Jeffrey, I hate you, but you're not my worst enemy. I love you.
That's not what love means.
And all Wilbur could do is wish bad things on me. I just, anyway. So AJ Brown saying the snow game, he wouldn't wish it on his worst enemy. That is such a mild thing to wish on a worst enemy.
Maybe AJ Brown's just a real nice guy.
I don't get that either. I don't get that. Okay, we get that.
Some people are.
He probably has a shelf full of books. We get that. But anyway. So Matthew Stafford is now sitting there going, I got to think about what's next. He's got $4 million fully guaranteed roster bonus that he'll get in March, and a non-guaranteed $23 million salary. He's got 2 years left in his contract. I wonder if he might request a trade or retire. Do you think they'll keep him? I don't even know. I mean, they won a Super Bowl the minute he showed up, and after that, it's been okay. Hasn't been bad.
And part of it is just like him by himself. Like when they won that Super Bowl, he was the missing piece. Now they have other missing gaps on that team, and so
where is their biggest missing gap, you think?
Oh man, Kyron Williams has been solid.
Their defense did fine,
but I think that they could probably stand to run the ball better. Their defense is fine, but I think that defense could stand to get a lot more pressure without having to bring extra players. Like if you can get pressure on a team, like what the Eagles can do. The Eagles can bring pressure and not blitz. Like that's like they can do that because their defensive line from end to end is terrifying. Like all of those guys can win and beat double teams, but you can't double team all of them.
Here's what I predict. The Rams will keep Matthew Stafford. They're going to hang in there with him, but they will draft a quarterback. It will not be a high tier quarterback. It's not going to be a big star, but they're going to try to find somebody they think that they can work with and grow because they got a lot of young guys already. I mean, you mentioned Kyron Williams. Well, he's still pretty young, and he's got some talent. Puka Nacua is doing great. They need to get old, Amish dental before picture, Cooper Kupp catching down balls again. But as far as that goes, I mean, because we are in such bad shape with quarterbacks, I don't think they're going to get rid of him.
And this is the draft for it. If you wanted to try and find a guy that was maybe second or third rounder and then just let him be the project that you work on, a guy like Quinn Ewers would probably fit really well because he is a little bit of a gunslinger like Stafford is. He doesn't have the arm, but like the mentality of just, hey, if I see it and it's open, I'm ripping it. Like that mentality, if you put someone like that behind Stafford and say, all right, you're going to sit there for a year or two or however long Stafford wants to keep going, then when it's your time, it's your time. That could work in this draft because there isn't anybody that I'd reach for in this one.
Right. So they'll keep him. This is not the time to be messing around. Last Optimist says, did I hear you say Dan Quinn hired Kingsbury because he knew no one would hire Cliff away?
No, I didn't say that.
It sounds like something I'd say.
But he hired Cliff because he hated coaching against his offenses. Just like I hate trying to defend all the silly nonsense you do. Maybe other coaches might hate it too.
By the way, just found out what the story has been on Ben Johnson. I think Ben was negotiating. I think there was some negotiating going on. $13 million a year for Ben Johnson.
Good for him. Genuinely good for him.
I think they got a deal. I think they got a deal on him. He's going to be great. Hefty Lefty says, I don't wish anything bad on my sports enemies. Generally, I hope they'll get gastric distress or paper cut on a knuckle or maybe some constantly damp socks. Oh, yeah, or kind of like having to poop a lot. Like somebody wished that on Lamar Jackson that year.
And it came true.
It did. They're like Voodoo Doll had the diarrhea too.
He's probably a Steelers fan.
Moist One says, Matt Nagy 2.0.
Ben Johnson. Did Matt Nagy as offensive coordinator of anybody's offense do anything that Ben Johnson's done? Because if you look at the numbers that Ben Johnson's offenses have put up over the last 2 years that he's been the offensive coordinator of the Lions, The Lions are like number one in every statistical category, and the things that they're not number one in, they're number two in. Like his offenses are insane. This can't possibly be Matt Nagy 2.0. I don't know if it's going to work, but that's
Moist one says, nah, he just had Mahomes.
That helps.
It does help.
And look, great quarterbacks have gotten many coordinators jobs that perhaps did not deserve the jobs that they got.
So it's been 2 hours and we've talked about 3 games. That's about right for the Daily Blender. That's about right.
Mm-hmm.
When we come back, we'll talk about last night's game between the Ravens and the Bills. And of course, after that, we got all kinds of other sports stuff to talk about. Let's not talk about the Suns, though. Don't want to talk about the Suns, except for maybe a trade that could actually happen. Come on back, kids. It's the Daily Blender here on 1580, The Fanatic.
Sports bettors, we've all been there. You have a live bet lined up. You check the odds one more time, place the bet only to see the bet delayed by the spinny wheel, line move, and your bet rejected. My name's Alex Kane, and I'm the founder and CEO of SportTrade, Arizona's newest sports betting app. At the core of the SportTrade offering is our probability-based odds. In other words, the Cardinals may be offered at 55% odds to win, a lot simpler than minus 125. Place your bet at 55% odds, and as your win probability changes, so does the value of your bet, giving you the ability to cash out with total control. And the best part, no spinny wheels. Live bets on SportTrade are instantly accepted. Download SportTrade on your iPhone today and use code 1580 to earn 10% cash back on every bet in your first week. Terms apply.
SportTrade is regulated by the Arizona Department of Gaming. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-549-8866. That's 800-549-8866.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group. Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to BABBEL.com. That's Babbel.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM.
It's time for the third hour.
And people settle down because it's time.
Time for what?
Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, it's 5 o'clock here on the Daily Blender. And good friend, radio pal, Jeffrey O'Brien, not alongside Randy White. He'll be back tomorrow, but we got Keon Rose in the control room, and you guys are on the Fanatic text line. 888-368-1580 as we broadcast live in the Harmon Solar Studios in Scottsdale. And now here is the schedule for Conference Championship Sunday. This is interesting. I'm not sure we have the right times here. I think I might have the wrong times here. Well, here's what I've got, at least over on one screen. You know what? Let me make sure. I want to give false information. I've got conflicting information on my screen. So here we go. Okay. So the broadcast starts. Can you double check that for me? And now I got 3 different pieces of information, but it shows game time on Sunday for Washington and the Philadelphia is 1 p.m. And broadcast time, I guess for us would be 12 p.m. But I just want to make sure that that's not Eastern. I think it's our time. Yeah, I think that's our time, 1 p.m.
Yeah, that is our time. Yeah.
Ew. See, I got the wrong time. That looks like yeah, I got wrong times in some places. Got to fix that. Anyway, so 1 p.m. You got the Commanders and the Eagles on 1580. The Fanatic, Ian Eagle, and Kurt Warner will be on the call for that. And then the AFC Championship game will be on at 4:30 p.m. It's the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs with Kevin Harlan. Wait a second. And Devin McCourty. Well, why is Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner not doing it together? They always do it together. That's all about.
I don't know, but Kurt Warner's got a bunch of jobs, so he might be doing NFL Network stuff because I think he still works with them. So if he's doing one of his many other jobs, he might not be on this call.
Yeah, makes sense. But all right then. So both those games on 1580, the Fanatic, and now I'm not so sure about some of the broadcast time stuff. I'm gonna have to double check that and make sure it's all good. Because, well, you know, if we're going to air it, I feel like we should know what we're doing.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
So now I'm looking at it, and yes, the broadcast does start at noon on 1580, the Fanatic. So guess I better let the guys in Palm Springs know that too. Because maybe I won't tell them. They'll be fine. No. I'll tell somebody. I don't care. Anyway, so let's talk about the Bills being able to defeat the Ravens with some help from the Ravens. Josh Allen, 2 touchdowns. And, Lamar Jackson, 2 turnovers. Yeah. Bills got 10 points off those turnovers. Well, over the 3 turnovers they had, wasn't just Lamar Jackson. So if you take the difference there, Ravens would have won this game.
Yeah, like the Ravens were actually really dominant. The turnovers allowed the Bills to get a lead and dictate the way the game went. And, the Ravens actually kind of proved why they were the more dominant team coming into this game. But the fumbles killed him. Lamar's fumble was really bad. The Mark Andrews one was worse because of when it happened. The timing of that could not have been worse. And then, of course, not a turnover, but the dropped 2-point conversion. The Ravens just made so many mistakes and played such sloppy football that even though they did everything else that they wanted to do, they wound up losing the game.
So what happens with Lamar Jackson? He's the Susan Lucci of the NFL. He keeps getting right there close. No, I can't do it. And he's about to lose his mind. Everybody says he looks like Samuel L. Jackson.
He's about to, really about to.
Yeah. And you could hear the frustration in his voice. He was gracious. He was cool at the end of the game with Josh Allen. Everyone's like, look at him. And that smile, he's probably like, I'm going to kill people. Yeah, it's real. This is real. I'm going to kill people tonight. So you probably should leave early. Okay, bye-bye. That's what that smile said. But really, Lamar Jackson, you caused 2 of the turnovers. You the fumble and the interception you threw. Can't even be mad at Mark Andrews. You can, but he's not the sole reason. Mark Andrews had the ball and they dropped the ball. Happens. It's life. It's not like this is a guy who's let you down tons of times in the past.
Yeah. It's just when the game's on the line. But Lamar's going to be the guy that blames himself, which is one reason why he is kind of losing his mind a little bit. Everybody in that building knows that nobody wants to win a Super Bowl more than Lamar Jackson. And he knows that like the mistakes and the miscues and all that stuff like that, he's going to blame himself. Mm-hmm. He absolutely is. He's not going to blame Mark Andrews. The timing of the Mark Andrews miscues really hurts. But Lamar is very well aware that he is involved in this too. Yeah.
You want to be mad at him for fumbling? Can't even do that because he hadn't fumbled since 2019. I'm talking about Mark Andrews. When he fumbled earlier in the game, they were running, trying, and then a guy punched the ball out on him.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done that in 6 years.
When you get into the cold weather games, your mindset might have to change a little bit. Like you can't do the extra things you want to do as a tight end, like maybe just get down. You've got the first down already. You've moved the chains. Again, Mark Andrews not making that kind of mistake. And the same thing for Lamar. Like Lamar, this is his first multiple turnover game this season. He hasn't made those kinds of mistakes this year. But you go into Buffalo, the temperature is different, the weather is different, and maybe holding onto the football and ball security is a little bit different. Guess what? You're going to have to maybe keep two hands on that thing. And the fumble that he had, the ball's out here, one hand. You normally can do that because you're Lamar Jackson, but when the weather is like this, and we know you don't like the cold, you're a Florida kid, like that's gonna be a mistake you'd love to have back. Where you want to make a play, but maybe getting down, even if you're going to lose yardage, is the thing to do rather than lose the football entirely.
Yeah, I don't know what does Lamar Jackson have to do? What does he got to do? What I mean, I get it. The Bills at home in the weather, they have an advantage. They do. Yeah, and Lamar Jackson does not like it cold, but he felt like he played a pretty good game, except for a couple of mistakes. But what are the Ravens? What does Lamar have to do to get past this?
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't feel like there's anything extra to do except you just keep going at it. You go at it the next year. You try to get home field advantage, play this thing back at your house. That's about it, because the AFC is brutal. I mean, you start to look at some of the quarterbacks that you've got to navigate to get through that conference. It's not just Allen, it's Mahomes too, that you have to find a way to work through. There are going to be years that, guess what? You're going to see Joe Burrow in there. Justin Herbert, if the Chargers continue to improve, that's going to be a problem. Like, the AFC is just a miserable place to get through if you're a great quarterback, because you're just running into all the other great quarterbacks. You're looking over at the NFC, watching Jared Goff have the worst game of his life and going, why can't I be over there?
Yeah. Well, Dr. Roadmap says, did the Mafia get to Mark Andrews? Bills Mafia? Well, I don't know, maybe, because Ryan Fitzpatrick was out there before the game talking on the mic in the end zone, and he took his shirt off. So he's standing out there in the end zone, riling the crowd up with no shirt on in like 0 degrees. So maybe
the people who like to play in Buffalo, and Fitzpatrick liked to play in Buffalo, those are different people. Those are weird, strange, odd people. Mark Andrews is a normal person. It just looked like, well, we talked about this on Friday, right? You said the ball was going to feel heavier for some of these receivers.
It's going to hurt.
And it looked like he just couldn't. It looked stiff the way he caught it in a way that
the way they were kicking, those kicks were coming in low, and you could hear when they kicked it. It was like oh, oh my foot.
And then anytime the mic picked up a kick, it was dunk. It's. I'm telling you, that weather is just it's a different sport entirely, which is why I know you think the Bills should get a dome. Games like this is why they will never get a dome.
I think you're right.
They like that advantage.
Yeah. Nope. I stand corrected. They should never have a dome.
We play here. We're used to it. Our fans are crazy. They like it. Why do we get it? What do we need a dome for? And
I ain't going to any late season games in Buffalo, New York ever.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have games with the Cardinals where you're like, wow, Cardinals fans sell their tickets. That does not happen late in the season in Buffalo, because why would you ever do that on purpose?
Kiss the Cook says, damn, Susan Lucci of NFL. Even though we like him, we really, really like him. Now, you're thinking of Sally Field in that last part. And he says, no excuses. Baltimore plays in cold weather. Not quite as cold.
Buffalo cold is different. Because I lived in both areas. My grandma lives up in New York, and when I was a kid, I was in the DMV area, lived in Maryland. New York cold is not the same as Maryland cold.
You
promise
could see
you
the difference. You could see the difference on Sunday. You saw the snow and the slurry and the wet stuff, and then the hail or that grossness that was happening in Philadelphia. When they switched up to the next game, you're like, oh, did it snow? No, it didn't. The field is frozen.
Guys are sliding. That's not.
It's a frozen ass field, man.
It's not the same. And then not only is it New York cold being different from Maryland cold, they're in upstate New York, right across from Niagara Falls. Everything's frozen there. That's all that is. Yeah.
And then McDermott, the coach, comes right off, and then the gal's talking to him, and his hat was frozen.
You get home field advantage in the AFC, so you don't have to play there. I'm not blaming the weather. You knew what the weather was when you were going up there. You just had to be prepared. But it did impact the game because, of course, it does.
Tioa says, congratulations on the Commandos, Keon. Austin Eckler still blows, though. Seemed like he did all right.
Seemed like he did all right to me. And all season long, look, he took his annual, I missed 4 games because I was hurt for some reason or another. But every game he's been healthy, I've liked him.
Boogie says, sports is dumb. Sports is stupid. I hate sports.
I'm sorry, Boogie.
Sports is dumb.
I'm sorry. I hated that it was Detroit. To get to the title game, I wish the Washington could have beaten anybody else. Like all the bad teams, I have friends who are Browns fans. I have friends who are Lions fans. And I have friends who are Jaguars fans. And we just kind of all get it. We get it. And those are the teams I don't want to play you guys.
Sorry, Boogie. Prison Wallet says, do you guys know why Kansas City took the safety at the end of the game? I'm not upset about it because of the 2 points. I got the spread, and I ended a weekend on $700 parlay. I'm just curious why they did that. Well, but as far as I could tell, they were just trying to kill clock. I mean, I guess. I mean, was that it? When you think about it, because after that, there was that free kick.
The explanation they gave was that they decided to give up 2 points and have it stay a 2-possession game than risk having the punt get blocked and then returned for a touchdown, which would have brought the Texans within 1 score.
It doesn't happen very often, but
if you're playing
scared of your own shadow,
you say scared of your own shadow, but like crazy crap happens in the playoffs, and this is not a 7-game series. You get one, and it only takes one stupid thing to go wrong, and we're sitting here on a Monday going, "Wow, I can't believe the Texans blocked that punt." It does happen, especially when you're backed up in your own area. Then
I've been backed up in my own area all weekend. Boogie says, "I'm rooting for Washington to win it all for the record, but holy darn, that was a hard to watch. You can't turn the ball over 5 times, and win a playoff game. You just can't. By the way." What's the over-under on the refs beating Buffalo? I don't know. That's a harder one to sort of subtly direct, if you know what I mean.
I feel like the Ravens and the Lions have to feel the same way today, where it's like we if you take away the turnovers, we didn't play bad, but the turnovers are turnovers, and they do move games.
Random Texter says, there's a video out there right now of the Baltimore Ravens trying to run that 2-point conversion play on 2 other occasions, and they missed it the other 2 times as well. Exact same play.
But they got the ball into Mark Andrews' hands. I'm sorry.
This was the 3rd time's a charm, and he dropped the charm.
And of course, anytime you run the play and you miss it, you go back to practice and you go, well, what do we do wrong about it? You don't throw the whole play away. You go, well, what worked, what didn't work? And clearly, they workshopped it. He just didn't catch the ball.
I could have workshopped you the words Derrick Henry.
You can, but
you get him running a sweep and get him with some speed going downhill.
It's hard. It's hard to do on a frozen field.
Yeah, that's also a good point. Yeah.
Hard to do on a frozen field.
Quiet Cannon says, didn't John Elway go through frustration after frustration before he won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, and then he won another one immediately after that, and then he retired. So I hope it doesn't take Lamar his entire career.
You're right. His entire career to get, and you would have thought he'd have grinded his teeth down, but he never did. There's a lot of teeth there. Taco Kenny says, Vamos, es todo. And then he puts up a picture of, it's the Notre Dame logo, he says.
That starts in half an hour.
Oh, that's right. We haven't even talked about that yet. We're gonna in the next segment as the game starts. We just got a few more things to talk about here. On this game, on the Bills beating the Ravens. So everybody's defending Mark Andrews, and I think we're defending him too, saying that guy is a beast. He's a great player. It's unfortunate to have that happen in the most important game that you're going to play, but it's the same thing with the Lions. Most important game you're going to play, and everybody just kind of blew it. I don't know what Mark Andrews' deal is. I mean, if I'm carrying a football and somebody punches it out, is that my fault? Or, I guess, what's he supposed to do? Put it right in front of, I guess, protect the ball more tight to your body? And okay, so you want to blame for that. And then, you blame him for dropping a pass. It's like people drop passes all the time. It's just his timing, worst possible you can have.
Especially for who he is. I think what makes a lot of Ravens fans frustrated is like, he's old reliable. Like he's the guy will never screw anything up. And then because he's a human being, did this time.
Yeah.
That just happens.
So you can look at that, but then you can also say, okay, there was also some bad officiating in this game too. Maybe there was a touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown. Maybe the score should have been 25-20. Maybe you're not supposed to pull a running back into the end zone.
Yeah.
I saw it happening, but it was hard to see. You had to really be at the right angle, and I don't think the refs could have seen it. I saw it, and I'm like, oh, he's out there, pulled that guy. He just pulled that guy. And then, now, and this is how the game ends. That touchdown right there. That touchdown. When Bills guard Osiris Torrance grabs James Cook and says, "You can do it," and pulls him over himself, that should have been called.
Yeah.
Was it the same thing as the Chiefs, 12th man being the refs? No. But I just don't think anybody had an angle on it to see it, to be honest.
It's one that gets called so rarely too that it's possible that you're not even really looking out for it because it doesn't happen often. Guys usually don't wind up in positions to even do it enough.
No offensive player may pull a runner in any direction at any time. Penalty for that should have been 10 yards.
Oh boy.
Could have been the difference.
Could have been the difference. I mean, like this is football, man, like game of inches, right?
Yeah, as I'm watching this, I'm like sitting there watching, right? And most of the time, I'm sitting there going, "Shut up, Tony Romo." But then Jim Nantz goes, "Hey, look, Torrance is trying to just wrestle him across the line." I'm like, "Oh, you see it too." Gene Sterator, didn't say anything.
Gene, this is your job. This is your moment to shine, Gene.
What's going on there? Anyway, so there's one thing where it's like, okay, again with the officiating. President Wallet says, to answer your question, yes, it is your fault when the ball gets punched out and you're not securing the pill. All right. Ultimately, the Ravens did not deserve to win that game. They had 3 turnovers. Yeah, and 2 of them were your probable MVP.
Yeah, and a game that, like, not unlike Jared Goff, like a couple of the worst moments of his life, where it's just like he didn't do that all year. More than 1 turnover. All of a sudden, you got 2.
Boogie says, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. I'm rooting for an asteroid. A lot of people are, Boogie.
I don't hate Notre Dame enough.
And by the way, Moist One, I'm not putting the on anything. You can kiss the ass. I'm not doing it. Don't care.
That's fair.
I don't know what anybody has against Notre Dame. What do people have against them?
I don't know. Like Notre Dame has been, the winning insufferable fan base more of the past, though. They haven't been that lately. So I don't know. But there was a time where Notre Dame was kind of running college football the way like people hated Alabama
The way people hated the Patriots, the way people hate the Chiefs.
Yeah, like
Okay.
they were just kind of always there. You just go,
Got it.
we're a little tired of seeing Notre Dame.
Gotcha. All right, let's take a break. And look, we finally talked about all the NFL games that happened over the weekend. Should not have taken 2 hours and 20 minutes, but that's the way it works in this show. So we come back. Let's play the Keon Rose college football. No, it's not a dance party.
It's not a dance party.
We're just
It's
going to
one
talk about
lonely
the
game by itself.
Yeah, the national championship. We come back. It's the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update on 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic. Brought to you by G-Bank. Earn cashback rewards on every eligible gaming transaction. vsin.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply.
The early betting lines for the two conference championship games in the NFL on Sunday. In the NFC, the Eagles hosting Washington. Philadelphia, an early 5.5-point favorite, -115 against the spread. Washington getting the 5.5, -105. On the money line, the Commanders are +220, while the Eagles are -270, and the over-under is at 47.5. Meanwhile, in the AFC, for the fourth time in the postseason, Patrick Mahomes will play Josh Allen as the Chiefs meet the Buffalo Bills at Arrowhead. Kansas City, a 2-point home favorite, -125 on the money line. The Bills are +105. The over-under at 48.5, the over -105, and the under -115. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona.
We all know just because gifts for loved ones can look like flowers, a spa day, or maybe even planning date night. But what about something that will truly last and protect your loved ones along the way? I'm talking about life insurance. I called SelectQuote to secure our coverage and couldn't believe how easy and affordable it was. I'm 40, and my $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. And with their same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. With monthly payments less than the cost of a bouquet of flowers, this is the perfect time to make sure your family is protected.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-596-2626 or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-596-2626. 1-800-596-2626. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Progressive presents a testimonial of sorts.
Hey, slow down! Oh, yeah? Well, you drive like my grandma. She's a very attentive and courteous driver who wears a seatbelt and always uses her turn signals. She's also a talented painter and has very low cholesterol. Not that that has anything to do with her drive. We just thought a more complete picture of who she is might be interesting. Anyway, have a nice day.
Safe driver? Get Snapshot from Progressive and get a personalized rate based on how you drive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Hey guys, Jeffrey O'Brien here. Did you know Harman Solar has gone super high tech? There's an amazing tool at harmansolar.com that'll give you an instant ballpark solar estimate using satellites from space. You just type in a little information, and within seconds, you'll have an idea of just how little money it takes to save big on that monthly electric bill. I did it, and within seconds, they measured my roof and calculated my savings. It's very impressive. Go to harmansolar.com and give it a try yourself. That's harmansolar.com.
On the road again.
Just Neil. First of all, stop singing. Second of all, why are you singing?
I think he's singing about our Super Sunday pregame show coming up on the morning of the big game.
That's right. On February 9th, we're broadcasting live from the Spot Neighborhood Grill in Glendale.
We'll talk about football, of course.
We'll have special guests and great audience giveaways.
And listeners can meet the Weekend Warriors in person.
So join us live for the Weekend Warriors Super Sunday preview show
at the Spot Neighborhood Grill on Bell Road in Glendale.
February 9th from 9 to noon on 1580, The Fanatic.
Today, Blender here on 1580, The Fanatic.
Normally, I don't want the Super Bowl to be done and over with, but if it makes that promo stop playing on our station, where Neil sings,
even for a few seconds, it's too much.
put
It's
me
too
in a
much.
coma, wake me when it's over. Just saying. 888-368-1580. Prison Wallet says, I don't like Notre Dame because they kept that poor deformed kid locked up in the bell tower. Oh, I know. That was horrible.
Oh.
I saw that Disney movie. That was kidnapping, wasn't it? I mean, I think typically that's considered, or is it trafficking? I don't know, but
Well,
some
didn't move him.
gimpy, goofy kid that they keep in a bell tower, and he's like, well, yeah, ring the bell and maybe we'll give you a scrap of bread. That's illegal. Pretty sure that is illegal.
I think so, yeah.
I mean,
Quasimodo.
State laws do vary. And be honest, looking at Indiana, no one's surprised. But still, Kiss the Cook says, even though Arizona has a connection with Ohio State, I'm picking the Golden Domers. What is the connection?
I also don't know the connection.
What's the connection? Thundar Santa Barbarian says, not to say it changed the subject, but here it comes. He's probably going to change the subject. He's probably not even listening. He's just sending out baseball things. But he says, talking about a different sport, but it was a great World Series. Yeah. He was listening. He says, to your point about the Ravens turnovers, Aaron Judge had one error last season. Okay, I just stopped. No, he's going somewhere. He says, some people still crap on the guy for the one error he did make. Granted, very unfortunate timing, but anyone saying Judge is bad outfielder is just ignorant. And that's coming from a Dodgers fan.
But I do think,
fair point.
Yeah. And there's something to that because there is a level of what people remember about you is sometimes the timing of your mistake more than the mistake. You might be somebody who almost never makes mistakes, but that's the stuff that sticks. Like, the Vince Carter had that one dunk on Alonzo Mourning, and everybody remembers that, and not the hundreds of times Alonzo Mourning denied Vince Carter at the rim. The dunk is the part you remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's unfortunate, Bill Buckner. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a prime example.
Kiss the Cook says, Buckeye, Arizona.
Okay.
No.
That can't be.
That might be why they named that town. You're going to Google it? You're going to Google it.
I'm curious. I can't help myself.
Because see, Buckeye has a special place in its heart, in my heart. And that is the fact we used to have the Redneck Olympics. It was Apache Junction versus Buckeye. And I'd get somebody on the phone from Buckeye, and I'd get somebody on the phone from Apache Junction, and we let these idiots just go at it. And so I have a fond spot in my heart for Buckeye. Now I know Buckeye is growing leaps and bounds. They're becoming more of a city than a town. They're bringing in business. They're being very friendly to development and all that kind of stuff. But if I find out it's Buckeye because of Ohio ties,
it is
dead to me.
It is. Buckeye was influenced by an early settler from Ohio.
You're dead to me.
He named the Buckeye Canal after the nickname of Ohio, and Buckeye was originally called Sydney, but the canal wound up being so important that they called the town Buckeye.
You're dead to me, Buckeye. You're dead to me.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for Notre Dame. King Kitten says Goodyear, Arizona is also growing rapidly, named after the tire and rubber company. Wonder why they did that.
Could have guessed that one. Isn't the racetrack out there?
Oh, I don't know.
Or am I wrong about that? I'm asking, actually. I don't know.
Oh, look, I'll tell you what. You tell us about how this game is going to go, and I'll look up the Goodyear.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game where I don't imagine that the offenses are going to come out swinging just because of the level of defense being played. I don't think that anyone has scored more than 21 points on Ohio State this playoff. I don't think anyone scored more than 27 on Notre Dame this playoff either. They've just been really dominant defenses. They're both top 10 defenses, all season long. I do think that Notre Dame has genuinely struggled a little bit at times to find their offensive footing, but they have gotten going in games where I lean towards Ohio State in this game is just like their offense can just turn on at any moment. And when it's on, it's on. I don't think it's going to be easy for them, but I do think that they are going to be able to find what they do and ways to exploit Notre Dame a little bit easier than Notre Dame will for them. I also just like their wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith. I think Jeremiah Smith might be the best wide receiver in the country. Jeremiah Smith might actually be a top 5 pick in the draft if he were eligible for the draft, but he's a freshman. So he can't. He's damn good. He didn't get a whole lot going against Texas, but I think that when you have this much time between games and you get to watch film and study your opponent a whole lot more, I think that they're going to find ways to get Jeremiah Smith free and open. I think Will Howard is somebody that I've been critical of Will Howard all season long, and I I think kind of rightfully so for the first portion of the season, but the more the season goes on, the more he finds his footing, the more he is able to be like a high-level quarterback that's going to make good decisions and big throws. And like you can see the potential of Will Howard just starting to grow every single game. I do think that Riley Leonard is between the two guys at quarterback. I think Riley Leonard is the inferior quarterback between those two guys. He's a great runner, though. He's mobile. I just don't know how much mobility you're going to be able to use against this Ohio State defense, because those guys are monsters. And like Riley Leonard is mobile. He's fast, but Riley Leonard is not the kind of mobile and fast I think you need to be to make Ohio State look bad. He's a good runner. I think you need to be like Louisville Lamar good to maybe make this Ohio State team pay for you being able to carry the ball with your legs. So I'm going to take Ohio State in this game. I just think that they've got the quarterback advantage, and I think that they've got the offensive weapon advantage when it comes to big-time playmakers who can make those explosive plays downfield.
So the only thing that I'm hoping Notre Dame wins, but my bigger concern is trying to decide what to name my testicles. Well, I have a choice. I found a couple of good names.
Okay.
Amika for the left one, and Egbuka for the right one, or Quinshon for the left one, Judkins for the right ones. I can't decide. Might be left one Amika, right one Quinshon. I think that's a nice way to. But it's all Ohio State. I don't know if I want to name my testicles Ohio State player names.
I don't think you do. And I feel like if you ever referred to your testicles out loud, having to call one of them Quinshon seems uncomfortable.
Yeah, if I get kicked right in the Quinshon, ow.
Does seem like that would be uncomfortable to have to say out loud and explain.
Yeah, when you get kicked in the nuts, do you know which one immediately, or you just feel the pain, the overall pain that drops you to your knees?
I know which one immediately, because that whole side of my body is done.
Yeah,
is done. It's on fire. All of it. Like my stomach, the right side of my stomach, if it's the right one, the left side if it's the left one, I know right away because everything hurts.
Yeah. Although I maybe I'll just call them both my Judkins. Hey, God, I got kicked in the Judkins. It's kind of like being kicked in the Ginobili's. I don't know. I'm always on the lookout for new names for my testicles.
It's fair.
I can't be the only one.
In the Judkins.
Yeah, just took one right to the Judkins. Silver Pop says, regarding that one mistake that Andrews and Judge committed, there's a saying in life. You can do 1,000 things correctly in life, but the moment you slip up, you'll be remembered for that mistake instead of all the well you did. Yeah, anybody who's got a wife can tell you that. And he says, take me, for example. I cheat on my ex-wife once, and I'm labeled a cheater forever in her eyes. Well, no, that's actually fair.
Yeah, that's actually
You're
fair.
a cheater.
Because there's certain things that you aren't necessarily that unless you do it all the time. If you lie once, I don't think you're a liar. But if you lie all the time, you're a liar. But the gravity of cheating, if you cheat once, you're a cheater.
Mm-hmm. That's it. You're a cheater.
Because of what it actually can do to hurt somebody. Yeah.
And here's the other part. You later on you might not be a cheater anymore, but you cheated. I mean, you're a cheater.
Yeah.
You were a cheater. You may not be a cheater now. You may not be cheating now. You're a cheater. Moist One says he knows which one he gets kicked in because he only has one. You should name yours Judkin.
Judkin.
Just name it Judkin. All right. So the game is afoot. The game's a game. Well, the game is started, right? I don't think they've started. They're
not
probably
started. We've got the color guard out on the field.
probably national antheming.
Yeah. We got the U.S. Color guard, the various branches of military out there. So
can I just say this? You go to a game, right? And they're like, and gentlemen, please remove your hats for the national anthem. I was watching the inauguration today. And Mrs. Trump, she kept that Frisbee thing tight on her head. Women don't have to take off their hats, huh?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Also, I think with women's, depending on your hair, the shape of your head, the shape of the hat.
Right.
It might be attached in ways you can't just take off and then just put back on.
I wasn't aware that head covering was offensive to the flag.
I wasn't. I mean,
didn't know that. Just, I don't know. Things I noticed, things I wonder about. I mean, I'll take my hat off when somebody's singing. They say, "Take your hats off." I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, but you're a woman with a very fancy hat. That it probably took you all morning to get it on. It is not coming off.
Well,
not coming off.
I could tell you I'm a woman with a very fancy hat right now. Well, but after that speech from Trump today, no, I can't. No, I can't. Thundar, the Santa Barbarian, says, well, if you named your nuts after Ohio State suck eyes, then lawyers from the Urban Meyer era, well, you may have to accept the fact that they would be in prison for much of the year outside of the football season. How drunk are you right now, Thundar? Much of what I just read does not make sense to me, but hopefully you're not driving. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a break. We come back. We got on this date in Big Georgia sports history, and we'll talk briefly about a possibility of pulling off a trade that could get the Suns back on track. It's the Daily Blender here on 1580, The Fanatic.
Hey, sports fans, this is Dylan Cohen.
And I'm Keon Rose, and we're bringing you Beat the Book every weekday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon.
So if you want the latest betting picks, advice, and analysis that's sharp as a knife,
or at least sharper than Dylan's last pick on the Cardinals.
Oh, you've got jokes, huh? Maybe you're feeling bold now that your Commanders actually look decent this season.
Hey, even a broken clock's right twice a day, right?
Well, tune in to Beat the Book with us, Dylan Cohen and Keon Rose, every weekday from 2 to 3 on 1580 The Fanatic.
Brought to you by Sport Trade, the newest sports book in Arizona.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
We all know just because gifts for loved ones can look like flowers, a spa day, or maybe even planning date night. But what about something that will truly last and protect your loved ones along the way? I'm talking about life insurance. I called SelectQuote to secure our coverage and couldn't believe how easy and affordable it was. I'm 40, and my $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. And with their same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. With monthly payments less than the cost of a bouquet of flowers, this is the perfect time to make sure your family is protected.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-596-2626 or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-596-2626. 1-800-596-2626. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
They're gonna go nuts when he hits this thing.
It went in.
The People's Open is back. See the PGA Tour's best tee it up at the 2025 WM Phoenix Open February 3rd through the 9th at TPC Scottsdale. Get tournament and ticket info at WMPhoenixOpen.com. WMPhoenixOpen.com.
Download our free sports app and stay up with all the latest sports news, scores, highlights, and more.
Or
stream us live anywhere
at 1580thefanatic.com.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic, Arizona's home for sports.
Today's Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic. I'm telling you, Mark Zuckerberg is in so much trouble with his wife. He's sitting there next to Jeff Bezos and his fiance. And Jeff Bezos' fiance has got this jacket, and underneath her jacket, there's just a push-up bra. And so she was sporting the girls, you know what I'm saying? She was, they were on full display. And I get it. It's, when you're a man, it's hard not to notice, right? But hey, man, keep your eyes on your own work if you're married. You keep your eyes up here, right? But in these photographs, man, he's not just glancing. He's just like, you know, and so is a couple other guys around him. They're like, wow.
He's the cartoon wolf going, auga, you know, that kind of. Yeah.
It's like these guys had never seen breast before. Now, in Zuckerberg's case, being the giant nerd that he is, maybe he hasn't. But I'm just saying, that's so, man, just, boy, did he. That's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough night and week and month and 3 years later for Mark Zuckerberg. You know what I'm saying? Next thing that happens where he's mad at her, he's going to be like, I just don't understand why we can't. I don't understand why you have to look at Mark Zuckerberg's wife's boobs. Yeah, okay, I'll go. Yeah, whatever you want, honey. Whatever you need.
Yeah.
That's on.
To be fair, if your wife is right there and you can't control that long enough for her to not be next to you and not have a bunch of cameras on a very important day in the American calendar. If you can't do that and control yourself long enough for that, yeah, you deserve whatever hell she's going to give you, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't look at other women. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I just don't. I am a happily married man. And she could walk right up to me and I'd be like, oh, nice to meet you. Moving on. You'll never see a photograph like that of me.
Which I think is good.
I have amazing peripheral vision.
No, never mind. I was good.
Look, like here, I can see my hand back here. I can see my finger moving around.
Okay.
Look, down here, I still see it.
I can still see it.
Still see it. What's that at level of? Oh.
It's going to give you some credit there. Never mind.
Let's talk about the Suns.
Maybe Mark should practice.
Let's talk about the Suns. Yeah, you think that robot had other sensors? Whatever.
All the video was worse.
Suns beat the Pistons. They lost today to the Cavaliers, and something's got to change. Something has got to change. It is ugly for the Phoenix Suns. We do not want to be a 500 team. Ishbia is paying too much money for this to be a 500 team. Guess what? We're a 500 team. So the idea is like, hey, there's Jimmy Butler over there. There's Bradley Beal over here. Be nice if we could turn Bradley Beal into Jimmy Butler. Be fun to see what happens. Problem is, there needs to be another team involved. So there's some rumors that the Milwaukee Bucks. Sorry,
wrong Bucks.
Sorry, yeah. The Milwaukee Bucks are interested in getting them some Bradley Beal, so they might facilitate the trade that is necessary to get Jimmy Butler from the Heat to the Phoenix Suns.
I like that. I wonder who Milwaukee would send to Miami, because Miami's got to be happy with this trade too. But I think Miami would be also just happy to be free of Jimmy Butler and the nightmare that he is being.
They'd be free and then happy with picks, you think?
They'd be happy with picks, but I think that they'd also like to get back a player. Maybe that player is Chris Middleton, because I think that's what you'd want to replace. That's what you'd want Beal to replace. Middleton just isn't the same guy, after the injury. He just doesn't seem to be able to play at that same level. Now, if you're Miami and you want to gamble on the idea that Middleton can get back to that level.
More than that, because Beal is getting 50. So one of the thought processes out there is Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, and Pat Connaughton.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, because Portis and Connaughton, I mean, is kind of just like the let's make the contracts work guy. But Portis is like your standard Heat player. I play really hard. I'm a glue guy. I'm great in the locker room. They already have their scoring. The Heat have actually done pretty well, in the absence of Jimmy Butler this entire time. They're a game above 500, but for like a team that is missing the person who's supposed to be their superstar, they don't seem to be playing very badly. So if they can just get one more person to maybe elevate their roster, maybe elevate their rebounding in some way or their defense in some way, and Portis does both of those things, and you can take a little bit of that pressure off of, Bam Adebayo so that he can focus more on the offensive side of the ball alongside Tyler Hero. I mean, this is one of those trades where it does look like it's a win for everybody involved.
So those are the rumors. So I guess, when can this happen? This can't happen until March, or it could happen today.
It could happen today. But like teams like to wait till other teams are desperate so you can get the most that you can.
Does the desperation affect this?
I don't seem to think so.
So
but
this could just happen. And if this is going to happen, they could just do it now.
Yeah, and
of course everybody would like that, because
all three teams would have to be like, all right now, because the Suns are ready.
You need time to get the players where they need to go, and then get them going. You don't want to be waiting another moment, because we need to get Jimmy Butler into the team and playing well, and we need to start winning some damn games. And there I go again. The Milwaukee Bucks, same thing with Bradley Beal. They'd want to get him in there, start working on it. I mean, okay, it's January. If you wait till March, now you're just a couple months away from the playoffs.
Well, the deadline's February 8th, I think.
So February 8th is the first day they can do it.
It's the last day they can do it.
Well, I thought it was in March. Oh,
no. The trade window's already open. They can trade. But
get it together, people.
Yeah, teams have to hammer out these details, and they have to kind of all agree, like, no, I'm getting the right amount of picks and all whatever compensation it is that they want, and everybody's trying to squeeze the most out of everybody else. If you're doing this in a 3-team deal, I think the Suns are the ones that are like the least pressured to try and get more, because they are over that second apron, so they can't get back a whole lot extra anyway. The Suns are ready to go. There are rumors that Matt Ishbia has an extension for Jimmy Butler for whenever they can acquire him. He's ready. The checkbook is open. We just need to get the guy.
I think Ishbia's little motto is F the apron.
You're already over it.
Yeah. F the next one too. F all the aprons.
There isn't a third apron, but
no, fourth apron, fifth apron. Don't care. F the apron. But that's it. Ishbia, put that on your wall. You know how everybody walks up and they touch the sign as they go through?
Yeah.
F the apron should be right there on his way out of his office. F the apron. Tiwa says, like former Giants long snapper Trey Junkin, Jeffrey's nuts are ignored until they blow. Well, I mean, I'd prefer they be well ignored rather than kicked in. You know what I'm saying? Big George says, my thoughts. Time to blow it up. Trade KD, Booker, and Beal for draft capital. Calm down, George.
Look,
that's a dumb thing to say.
If you blow it up, you're basically saying you're going to be worse than the Wizards for the next 5 years.
And we don't want to sell any tickets either.
So why not just try? Like, if it's going to be a slow, painful death either way, why not try the side that might make you better and might give you a chance? Like, why are you so eager to blow everything up? I don't understand this, because the timeline doesn't change. It doesn't get faster if you blow it up.
Stop trying to figure out, George. It's either best team ever, we're winning a championship, or fire everyone. There's no middle ground. You are arguing with a tree stump when it comes to these.
This is true. This is absolutely true.
So real quick, I guess Tyron Grant Foster is, trying to get back to his winning ways, and GCU did beat Tarleton State 88-64 on Saturday night. He had 5 rebounds, so he's getting in there. He's getting in there, but again, it was Tarleton State. But I'm just saying they won, so it was just nice to see them win the game that they were supposed to win in a way that you would expect them to win.
Yeah, and with a player you'd expect them to win with, and Tyon Grant Foster, who's had his struggles all year long. He's starting to play better, but he's had his ups and downs, and it's good to see more ups lately.
Yeah. So that's cool. Good job, guys. And of course, they'll be here on 1580 The Fanatic on Thursday at 6:15 p.m. So we'll be looking forward to that. Right now, it's time for On This Date in Big George's sports history. Back in the year 1950, the NFL Rules Committee voted to allow unlimited free substitution of players, quickly opening the way for the era of 2-platoon football and specialization of positions such as field goal kickers. The new rule soon changed the face of the game. For one thing, the game became much faster and players performed for fewer minutes and had more time to rest. Back to me, Jeffrey. Yeah, I didn't realize it took them that long to do that. Up to 1950. Well, then I wonder how it worked. So you didn't have free, unlimited substitution of players. So what? It just meant that you couldn't switch people out unless there was a timeout, kind of like they do in. I mean, how does that work? How did it work before 1950?
That's a great question.
Huh. Boy, I tell you what, sometimes when some of the dates of the rule changes end up getting talked about, seems like
it's crazy. You're like, hey, why didn't anybody figure this out faster?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's with a damn good rule, if you ask me.
I agree. Some rules when they get changed, you're like, okay, everybody agrees. We unanimously agree that this has made everything better.
Well, basketball has sort of that, right? Like some rules on substitutions in play, but that's just. I mean, play has to completely stop or something.
Basically, you have to have like a foul or a timeout or something
you
like
can't
that.
Shift in players like hockey.
No,
think they'll ever do that? Shift in basketball players?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think
hockey is such a live sport. The play doesn't stop as often, so it makes sense in basketball because even if you don't call a timeout, there are lots of ways in which there can be stops in play. You still have enough time. In hockey, this just is the most sensible thing to do. Yeah.
So Ben Johnson, in his $13 million a year coaching job with the Bears, he's now trying to get Darren Rizzi to be his special teams coordinator. And it turns out that Ben Johnson has been quietly, is he allowed to do this? Calling up people or something, or trying to get people in order to be his assistants and coordinators.
He's allowed to, just because if you think you might want a job or you might want to take a job, you're calling up because you're calling up your friends essentially, or people you've worked with in the past on other coaching staffs and saying, hey, if I got this, would you follow me over there? So that it's not just a complete surprise.
I mean, you want to bet some of those conversations were like, did you say the Bears? No. No, I mean, I'm not going to the Bears.
I don't think that would happen, just because you'd believe in the guy that was going. And also, you go, Caleb Williams is there. That helps a lot. It's a tougher conversation if you have a friend that you'd like to be your offensive coordinator and you're trying to get the Raiders job. That's a tougher conversation. It's like, who's throwing the ball in my offense? Who knows? At least you can be in Chicago and go, that guy, the number 1 pick in the draft, will be doing that. I think we can fix him if you'll join us.
I think we need to start a GoFundMe.
Oh, for who?
CJ Stroud. I used to have a charity called Chins for the Chinless. I think he could use. That doesn't operate anymore. So I figure he either needs to grow a pretty good beard, or we need to start a GoFundMe. It's got to be hell for him to put on pillowcases. That's all I'm saying. Couldn't figure out what it was about him. Then I saw a side view. I was like, "Whoa!"
I don't think I get to laugh that much. I'm not exactly not exactly killing it in the chin department myself. So
You got a chin. I can see your chin right now.
yeah, I don't know. Before I lost weight, it was
Your chin was bigger? You lost chin?
I have gained chin.
Oh.
I mean, I didn't.
Well, that's good though. So you don't need
that is good, but
you don't need a procedure.
I don't need to. I can't laugh at another person and their chin struggles.
Well, you can't grow a beard for nothing, so it's
No.
a good thing your chins came in.
I got enough. I've got enough. I just made it.
Hey, don't feel bad. Some people got more chins than a Chinese phone book. You know what I'm saying? There's like, oh, and I'm starting to get a little bit of a waddle here in my old age. I don't know how to.
That'll happen too.
I don't care enough to do anything about it. I was just kind of like, maybe I gotta get a beard on me too. I don't know. Is that it? Show's over. Okay. Listen, everybody. I don't know what's happening right now for you in your life. Probably everybody's turned off the radio and heading on over to ESPN to watch Ohio State and Notre Dame, who are right now knotted up at zeros. 9 minutes left in the first quarter or whatever. So we'll talk about that tomorrow and stuff. Have a great night. See you at 3 p.m. It's the Daily Blender here on